Welcome one and all. Today we are doing a tier list of every single game I played in 2005. That can be a game that I streamed, or it can be a game that I played offline. I played a lot of games offline. I am a massive impulse purchaser on Steam. I buy tons of games, tons of small indie games, and so I play a bunch of stuff offline. Tons and tons of games. Did I say 2005 instead of 2025? It's been a whole meme that I'm saying I wish I was in 2006 rather than 2026, and I guess I'm making that dream a reality by manifesting it, by saying it was 2025. And there are 82 games on this tier list, and here are those games. An absolute ton of games that we're going to be ranking today. So, those are all the games. You may spot some that you like the look of, that you have played yourself, or some that you've never heard of before. I hope it's a nice spread of all of the above. Now, let's go over the tiers real quick. So the top tier is Game of the Year. This, we will not be putting anything in Game of the Year until the very, very end. Right at the end of the video, I'm going to be deciding what game goes in Game of the Year from my selection of peak video games. Next up, we have Peak. That is going to be all the games that I feel like are exceptionally good. All of the games where I feel like this is a game I would recommend to you at home 100%. And that you could probably recommend to people as well. Just really, really top tier games. Then we have Jud Jame. These are games that they're just Jud. They're Jud James. Like, I would say they're pretty good. If someone said, I'm interested in that, should I get it? I'd say, yeah, sure, why not? They're an easy one to recommend, but they're not something that I would like enthusiastically recommend and pester people to download. That sort of game. Then we have An Game. This is for games that are definitively an game. They're a game that isn't really bad, it isn't really good, it's just a game that exists, and I don't really have many opinions about it. This is definitely the tier for games that I like downloaded, played for like an hour, and went, yeah, and then never played again. That sort of level. Next up, we have Little Stinky. This is the tier for games that are just a little bit stinky. They got a little bit of stink on them. So this will be games that I don't outright hate, but I feel like I left with more negative impressions than positive impressions. So these are not me saying like these developers suck, I hate them. It's just me saying like I came out of this with a majority stink rather than a majority happy sort of experience. Then we have Al. This is for games with a character called Alan in them. So this is only for games that have a character called Alan in them. No, this is AI. So there's been a worrying trend that I noticed instantly in January this year. Last time I did a tier list for 2004, there was, I think, one game that had AI in it. And so I mentioned that, and it was in Little Stinky. However, this year, AI has become a thing. And I don't know what your opinion of AI in games is at home, in the audience. However, for me, it really spoils my enjoyment. I can be thinking a game is okay, and then I will spot an AI art asset, and I'll instantly feel like, damn. And it will just completely sour me. And I kind of can't help it. So this goes below Little Stinky. Every single time something has AI in it, I kind of just feel disappointed and miserable. And so any AI, if a game has any AI at all, it goes here. And it doesn't matter if it's a good game or a bad game. How good the game is will depend on the order within the tier. But any AI puts you in this tier below Little Stinky. So that's where that goes. I feel like this tier, if I did another tier list next year, I feel like this tier is going to be so big that it's kind of going to become a pointless tier, because I feel like half of the tier list is going to be in here, and that's terrifying. But for now, I think there's like 5 games in here. And then SOTY is Stink of the Year. This is for the stinkiest single game of the year, and that goes in Stink of the Year. Like the Game of the Year, we will be deciding this one right at the end, when we've done the entire rest of the tier list. Would that include procedural generation? No. So when I say AI, again, AI is such a broad term. When I say AI, I mean generative AI. So I mean creating assets, creating voices, stuff like that, using generative AI. Obviously, AI as a terminology in gaming has been around for like 30 years because AI just means how like an enemy behaves, for example. But I mean generative AI. Not just like any use of AI at all, because AI is a term, like I say, in Metal Gear Solid 2, the enemies can see footprints and go, oh, these must be for an enemy, and follow the footprints. That is AI, but it's obviously not what we're talking about, right? I'm talking about generative art assets, voice assets, stuff like that. Another thing I will briefly warn you about is that I kind of like... I find it a lot of fun explaining why I don't like things. And I find it less fun explaining why I do like things. I like that, but I have a lot of fun explaining why I don't like things. So there is a risk that sometimes I will be describing a game and I will be talking very negatively for an extended period of time. That doesn't mean I hate the game. It may just mean that I'm enjoying describing the flaws in the game. So don't take it too personally if I sound like I'm coming across worse on a game. It can happen. But generally speaking, if I really actually actively dislike a game, I will tell you. But just be warned, because there are a few games on here. There are a few games on here that I will describe in negative ways that may upset people. And so just brace yourself for that. Okay, first up, the first game on our tier list is 1000X Resist. This is 1000X Resist. 1000X Resist is essentially a visual novel. However, something that makes 1000X Resist distinct is that it has full 3D and it also has full voice acting. And the voice acting is very, very good. I saw someone else talking about 1000X Resist and they were describing it as literature. And I think that's kind of fair because the only thing you can really say about this game is talking about the story and talking about the characters and all that sort of stuff. It's very cool. I really like 1000X Resist. I feel like it's told in a very unconventional way. The story is incredibly non-linear, and especially at the start, that is very, very, very disorienting. However, it does start to click into place a little bit. It drags a tiny bit towards the end, but when I finished it, I felt very, very satisfied indeed. It might be peak. It might be peak. It's kind of sad. So if you're someone who's incredibly sensitive, like say you're going through a rough time, if you're someone who likes to enjoy sad things when you're in a sad mood, then this is probably going to be good for you. If you're someone whose vibes can get knocked off by playing something that's sad, then this might not be for you, because a lot of this game is very sad. And so it's kind of, I do think it's peak. Okay, I think this is effectively a visual novel. We're starting off the tier list very, very strong. This is effectively a visual novel, and visual novels are all about story, and I think this game does that very, very well. So I think I'm going to put 1000X Resist in peak. I did really enjoy it. It took me a very long time to get through it because I kept getting too sad. But yeah, it was it's a very good game. I would recommend it if any of that feels like your cup of tea. And okay, let's actually move on because we do have so many games to get through. I cannot let myself yap. I can't let myself yap. Next up is Strange Jigsaws. Okay, you know what? I'm not even going to show a trailer for this one. Strange Jigsaws is exactly what it says on the tin. Strange Jigsaws, a real change of pace from 1000X Resist. It is just a game with strange jigsaws. It's a bunch of puzzles, loosely themed around jigsaw puzzles. There are things like, for example, you're building a jigsaw that also affects the screens that you're kind of transitioning through, so you kind of build yourself a path to the end goal by using a jigsaw puzzle or whatever. It's very simple, kind of clever. I think this is an game. I don't think it's a good game. I think it's just kind of okay. It's got some funny bits. There's a couple of funny jokes, and I do think that they do successfully keep making jigsaws interesting by flipping things up and changing the way the game works. But at the end of the day, it is 2D jigsaws. and there's only so much you can do with that. So I'm going to put it in An Game, but it will likely be near the top of An Game. It's pretty solid. Next up, we have A Better World, and oh chat, we finally made it. After so much preamble, we finally made it to A Better World, which means I can finally talk about a game where I have negative things to say, and I can go off and ramble and enjoy being negative for a flipping second. A Better World is a game with a very, very, very cool concept. This is a game where you basically change the course of history from a computer. It's essentially, I mean, you can tell by the visuals, right? It's the TVA. It's the TVA from the TV series Loki, where you're basically building a better world using time travel. You're changing the timeline and you're nudging events so that you change the world in various ways. It's a very, very cool concept, and that is why I bought it on the spot. I saw it on the Steam store. I was like, this seems like a cool game. I will buy it immediately. And the visuals also look pretty cool. However, the issue with A Better World is all in the execution. The concept is fine. The execution is not great. So basically, the problems with A Better World are that there is no voice acting. The character just goes, yeah, yeah. And everything is delivered by subtitles at the bottom of the screen. There is no indication that the subtitles have changed or that the subtitles have popped up, so it is very easy to miss them. And also, you cannot click to advance. The subtitles just move, so you cannot even realize that subtitles are at the bottom until you've missed 2 or 3 lines of it. They're just constantly ticking by. You can miss them constantly. A lot of the time, the game is asking you to pay attention to somewhere else on screen while a character is talking to you, and it is literally impossible to pay attention to both. It's really, really frustrating because the entire game is presented via, you know, essentially talking, which is all completely silent. It's a very, very quiet game. There's like no sound in the game. It's just dead silence while subtitles like flick across the screen at the bottom. And it's very, very easy to miss what people are saying to you. And when the game is entirely people talking to you, the most frustrating thing in the world is not being able to see what people are saying to you. It also had a soft lock. It told me to jump back in time and to pull a lever, and the lever just never arrived. So I was just sat at the computer and my game was softlocked. I had to restart the entire mission, which is a pretty involved process. So yeah, its execution is very poor, even though its concept is pretty good. Also, there was a point where we time traveled to like the 1800s, and it just looked like the modern day. There was like modern roads and road markings in the 1800s, like tarmac roads. And I'm just like, if your one thing is that you're time travel, you should probably have it be a bit more accurate than that. I played it for 45 minutes and never plan to play it again. So I think I'm going to stinkify it. The tutorial is the absolute worst part because the tutorial has tutorial text in the subtitles and tutorial text on the computer in front of you, and both of them are auto-advancing at different speeds. And so you're constantly trying to move your eyes up and down and constantly missing text. And that's the tutorial. It's just really annoying, really frustrating. So yeah, A Better World is a little bit stinky. Maybe the 1800s where they have better tech. I don't think it was. I don't think it was that we rewrote the timeline to have better technology, because the only thing we're affecting in that scenario is what food people eat. One of the scenarios is you need to improve the diet of the world and eradicate fast food. Make global superpowers fight so that the superpower with the best food takes over the world so that everyone eats better. And that didn't seem to affect the quality of the roads in the 1800s, I don't think. By the way, the failure condition is always England winning. If England becomes the global superpower, then you lose, because everyone's eating fish and chips. So that is the fail state. Like I say, the concept is good. The concept of the game is good. But the execution is it's really bad. Literally, if they either had voiceover, or they just let you click to advance the text and maybe add a sound effect when the subtitles change so that you know, just like a click, just so that you know that there's new text on screen, it would fix like almost all the issues. But the fact that you're constantly missing text in a game that is all about text is very annoying. So yeah, not very good. It is a little bit stinky, sadly. A better world. A better world should have been a better game. Anyway, that's very good. Okay, next up, Afterglow. Afterglow is a game on Steam that I found because the latest community update was from the developer saying, I have made the game basically free. Please download it and tell me what you think so I know how to make the game better. It has 3 reviews on Steam. 3. So, I am going to be someone who reviews this game, developer. Aren't you glad that I found your video game? Afterglow is a very old school looking shooter game where all the enemies are turrets. There are no moving enemies, it's just a bunch of turrets that shoot at you. The guns are kind of fun to use, and there is no sprint button. Movement is extremely limited. It is extremely punishing. You die super quickly, and it feels like the game revels in being a little bit mean and a little bit rough. The enemies can shoot at you from further away than you can realistically shoot at them, and they will kill you extremely quickly. It's very simple, but I did enjoy buying a big bazooka and upgrading it and making it very strong and blowing up turrets. That is Afterglow. However, there's a lot of bad points. For example, your ammo is a resource that drains and then recharges over time. When you start the game, the recharge speed is so slow that you literally have to wait around a corner for all of your ammunition to come back for like 2 minutes, and then run out, fire at some turrets again, hide, wait for another 2 minutes, then go back out and play again. It's pretty goddamn boring. And the dominant strategy in this game is that you just want to find a spot where the turret can't shoot you, but you can shoot the turret, and then just wait there and shoot every time your ammunition comes back. And rinse and repeat for every single turret. It takes a very long time, but I do kind of like the graphics. I like how kind of scuffed and 2000s they look. I think it's an game. It's definitely not a Jud game. I don't think it's a little bit stinky. I would have put it in a little bit stinky. However, like I was telling you about the ammunition problem, there's actually an upgrade. One upgrade that doubles the speed your ammunition comes back. If you buy the next upgrade, it more than triples the speed your ammunition comes back. So they really should have just made it so that the ammunition came back at double speed from the start, and then make all the upgrades improve it a little bit. A little bit, because the improvements are too drastic and the game becomes massively better after just one upgrade, where you double the ammunition recovery speed. But if you do upgrade, the game becomes kind of fun. Now, it's very funny that someone in the chat mentioned AI slop, because Afterglow does not have AI as far as I can tell. It looks very much not like an AI game. However, I checked the developer's Steam page, and clearly Afterglow didn't do very well, right? It's got 3 reviews. So immediately after Afterglow, the developer made like a cozy farming game, which I don't know if that did well either. And then every game after that, his games have descended more and more into AI slop, until the latest game that was released like 2 months ago is nothing but piss-colored AI slop. It's so bad. However, this game doesn't use it, so it's not going in the AI tier. But yeah, it's just like this dev clearly just decided to stop putting in the effort, and it just descended into slopdom. Sad. Very sad. But like I say, this game, which is the first game released on that account, is probably the best one. And it's an game. Alas. Next game is Among Ashes. Talking of AI, Among Ashes is in the AI tier. Among Ashes is a game that I was playing on stream. I did one stream of this game. I was planning to finish it on stream, and I think I was very near the end. I feel like I was probably only like an hour away from the end. However, there are posters in your bedroom that are clearly Gen AI. And also, the game is kind of... it makes me uncomfortable, not just in the AI-ness, but let me describe a few ways this game makes me feel a little bit weird. The script has a lot of swearing in it, and it has a lot of swearing in it in a way that it feels very forced, in a way that made me feel like the game was a little bit immature as I was playing it. Then there's a character who's like in a sexy corset bikini for no reason, and I know why the developer did it. The developer did it because they like Silent Hill 2. However, the reason there's a character like that in Silent Hill 2 is related to the plot of the game in a very deep way. However, in this game, that is not part of the plot at all. The character just put a sexy lady in there in a corset who flirts with us for no reason. And that felt very weird and very uncomfortable. The final uncomfortable thing is, this game has a mini game where you're fighting off tribesmen in the Amazon, and the way they draw the tribesmen... I don't need to finish that sentence. It feels bad. It feels bad. So I feel like there's just enough things about Among Ashes that make me feel bad playing it, and it's why I never streamed it again. I'm not a huge fan of Among Ashes, so it's going in the AI tier. Okay, next up is King of the Bridge. King of the Bridge is a chess game where there are a bunch of additional rules that you do not know at the start of the game. But it basically means that you can cheat, or your enemy can cheat, or your enemy can use really stinky rules. Like the queen can move off the board or something like that, which basically mean that the chess game becomes incredibly chaotic by the end of the game, where there's all sorts of ridiculous cheating going on. There's like a goose on the bloody board. Things can get really out of hand really, really quickly. If you catch the troll cheating, then you get to get a free move. If the troll catches you cheating, then he gets a free move. So you can cheat and get away with it as well. It's a pretty fun concept. The only problem for me is that I'm bad at chess. I'm not very good at chess at all. So I was trying to play this, and I got the bad ending, but the good ending requires you to beat the game without cheating, while the enemy is cheating, and I'm afraid I'm just not good enough at chess. So sadly, I'm not going to be able to get the good ending on this one. But the game is pretty cute. I do like it conceptually. I think it's not bad. Get better. Okay. I'm going to be real with you, chat. There was a period of time a couple of years ago where I decided I would get good at chess. I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get good at chess. And I downloaded a chess game on my iPad, and I set the AI level to be like the minimum. And I was like, when I can beat the AI 3 times in a row, I'll move the AI level up. And then I'll beat that 3 times in a row. And I'll move the AI up. And eventually I'll get really good at chess. And chat, I got 1 AI level higher, and I couldn't beat it 3 times in a row. I'm just very bad at chess. I'm sorry. Let's move King of Bridge. I think King of the Bridge is... I actually think it's the top of Endgame. I feel like in order to get into Jud Jame, it needs to have something a little bit more. I enjoyed my time with King of Bridge, but I'm also not really going to be recommending people it, just out of the blue. That's never gonna happen. So I think it's at the top of Endgame. If people think that Endgame is bad, Endgame isn't bad. Endgame is it's a game that I played. I don't have particularly strong opinions about it. And King of Bridge, Strange Jigsaws, and Afterglow are all in there. That doesn't mean they're bad games. I just don't have massive opinions about these games. So King of Bridge is probably at the top of Endgame, in my opinion. Yeah, it's a fun game, and I'm never going to be able to beat it because I'm bad at chess. Sorry. Sorry to the developer. All right, let's move on to Miside. Miside, I streamed Miside on the channel, so hopefully you're all pretty familiar with Miside. Now, Miside is an interesting one, because I really like the art style, and I think the plot of Miside is incredibly intriguing. People saying it's Miside, I can literally never believe that this is called Miside, because it's what is that supposed to be? My side sounds like you're by my side. Like you're a couple, right? Why would it be called Miside? Doesn't make any sense. My side is very, very intriguing. And I think if it paid off on all of its intrigue, then it would be at the top of Jud Jame. However, my side is very unusual in that it sets up like 20 things and then pays off 3 of them, and doesn't even attempt to pay off the other 17, in a way that it feels like this is more of like a taster of a bigger franchise. And that's cool, but I kind of wish they'd have paid off a little bit more of the plot. There's like a ton of characters you meet who you meet once, and they're full of mystery and intrigue, and then you never meet them again. And it's kind of a little bit confusing in that way. So I think that is the difference between a high Jud Jame, and a low Jud Jame. However, there is literally nothing else in Jud Jame right now, so I can't put it at the top or bottom of Jud Jame. So it's just in Jud Jame, but I think it's going to be towards the bottom of Jud Jame as time goes on. But it is Jud Jame, I feel. I do want to play whatever is next in the My Side saga. So yeah, that is where that is going to go. It's going to be towards the bottom of Jud Jame, but I do think it is a Jud Jame. Okay, next up we have Cloverpit. Cloverpit is Balatro, but it is a slot machine. This is actually made by the developers of Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom, which I talked about on my last tier list. I get the feeling like the developers put a lot of time into Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom. It was like their passion project, and it probably did okay. And then the developers were like, okay, what if we just chase trends instead? And so then extremely quickly, they made a kind of Balatro clone, and it was massively successful. It's very, very funny to see them make their like passion project platformer last year and then make a really quick cash in, and it absolutely blew up. I mean, good for them. Good for them. They're a good developer, but it's just very funny to see that trajectory of them being like, let's just make a quick cash in, and then it worked. But yeah, no, they seem like really good developers, so I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them. And Cloverpit is good. I enjoyed playing Cloverpit. Is this my font? Are they using the same font that I use? It kind of looks like it. Anyway, another reason why the developers are goated. Yeah, so Cloverpit it's just a gambling game with Balatro elements where you make the high score go bigger and bigger and bigger. For me, this was an ideal second monitor game. When I'm doing something else and I just want something on my other monitor to like hit a button every now and again, then Cloverpit was absolutely ideal for that. It was just really, really good to kind of kill some time. And as a result, I probably have a ton of time playing Cloverpit. This is a Jud Jame. It's a Jud Jame. I'd probably put it above My Side because I do get a lot of mileage out of Cloverpit. It's very good. I wouldn't put it in peak. Peak needs to be something that leaves me with a burning passion to either play it with my friends or recommend it to my friends. Cloverpit is good, but I'm not going around and telling people to download Cloverpit. I have recommended people to download this one though, 1000X Resist. So yeah, it's a Jud Jame. It's definitely a very solid Jud Jame. Okay, next up is Bad End Theatre. Now, apparently Markiplier played this, because when I mentioned I was playing Bad End Theatre, basically every single person's response was, oh, I saw Markiplier play this. So I'm guessing that is what it is most well known for. So Bad End Theatre is a choose-your-own-adventure style game, kind of like a Telltale game, like Dispatch to use a modern reference. However, the difference is that you play as 4 different characters who all affect each other's story, and the goal, as the name would suggest, is to kind of get all of the bad endings, rather than finding the good ending. you get given a little tree like this where you can see everyone's potential endings, and you need to figure out a way to fill out that flowchart and get all of the bad endings. It is a lot of fun, and the art is very, very cute. Now, a way that this becomes really clever in a gameplay way, and my favorite thing about this game, is that you can kind of program the other characters. So if you do a bad ending with one of the characters, you might unlock like a character trait. And then when you're playing the other character, you can like program that first character to behave in a manner of your choosing so that when you meet them with the second character, they will behave in that way. And you can change those as you go. And that means that you can kind of like have way more options because it's not just your character's choices, it can also be how the characters act when they meet you. And like that's very, very clever and surprisingly complicated. There's like a lot of meat on the bone. It didn't take me too long. I think it took me like 2 or 3 hours to 100% the game. But a very cool gameplay mechanic of being able to program the NPCs essentially. Very, very cool. I would put this in Judge Jame. I think also above Miside. Is it above Cloverpit? They're very different games. Cloverpit is the kind of game that you play for like 5 hours and don't really pay attention to it. Bad End Theatre is a game that you play for 3 hours, but you pay complete attention to it. I'm gonna leave it here for now. I think this is... No. Miside belongs in Judge Jame because it is a Judge Jame. The only reason it's at the bottom of Judge Jame is because I feel like it's setting up future Judge James a little bit more than it should. And so I kind of can't put it anywhere higher up in Judge Jame, but it's definitely towards the bottom of Judge Jame, in my opinion. I feel like if Bad End Theatre was the same concept, but maybe more, then maybe it would go above Cloverpit. But I feel like it's short enough that I feel like here's a better place for it. Yeah, no, they're about equal. They're just very, very different. And so it's very hard to figure out what side of the equality these two come out on. But yeah, they're about similar, I think. Next up, it's Ball X Pit. Are you supposed to say Ball X Pit, or is it just called Ball Pit? Is this like a Hunter x Hunter situation? But yeah, Ball X Pit is a roguelike that is basically like Pinball or Breakout, where you're shooting a ball up the screen to destroy enemies that are coming down the screen, kind of like Space Invaders as well, I guess. It is very much a turn your brain off dopamine factory. You just play this and all the big numbers come on screen and the sound effects go and you go, oh man, that feels really good. That feels really good. That's basically all this game is. I feel like it needs a bit more. I feel like the game is always trying to sell just how many amazing combinations of balls you can make, because you can mix balls together. So you have like a fireball and an ice ball, and then you can mix them into a frostbite ball or something. And that's all very cool, but I feel like very quickly you find balls that work, and then there's really not that much reason to experiment, because you really want to complete runs, and so there's not that much reason to try a risky combination you've never seen before when you can just use the one that you know will break the game. Yeah, it's a little it can get a little bit repetitive. $10 is a very fair price. Yeah. $10 is a super fair price. It's good. It's good. I just kind of wish there was a little bit more. They do have different characters who do mix the game up. For example, one character has a giant shield, and you need to bounce your balls back up the map, and every time you bounce it back up the map, it does another 100% extra damage. So the way that you play the game with him is you launch the ball once, and then you just keep bouncing it up and down the field until it's doing like 2,000% damage and melting everything in one hit. And you just gotta really make sure you don't miss the ball, because otherwise you lose all of that progress. Very, very fun, that character. But it also means that you're playing the game very, very differently. That is good. It's definitely Judge Jame. You know what? I think it is better than Cloverpit, actually. I think it's better than Cloverpit. The Battle of the Pits between Ball Pit and Cloverpit. I think Ball Pit wins. I think it is better than Cloverpit. So yeah, it's currently at the top of Jud Jame, but I don't think it's going to stay there forever, but it is a Jud Jame. Yeah, if you're into like a roguelike and you just want a dopamine factory where you play a game and just the screen lights up with flashing and numbers and it feels good, then Ball Pit is pretty good. It also has like an idle game town builder element where you can upgrade a town that upgrades your stats and gets you new characters and resources to build more buildings and stuff like that. So it's got a bunch of layers. It's pretty good. It's pretty solid, I think. Yeah, Ball Pit's decent. Okay, we're going to talk about Bugaboo Pocket, and then I'm going to take my jumper off, because once again, I've gotten too hot. But Bugaboo Pocket is a Tamagotchi where you raise bugs. That's it. It's a bug Tamagotchi. You play little mini games with your bug, you put hats on them, you feed them logs, you decorate their little enclosure. It's a Tamagotchi for bugs. That's what it is. There's one of the mini games. Your mission is to grow a forest that has been destroyed, and every time you raise a bug, you kind of deploy it into the outside world, and it makes the world a little bit richer, a little bit more rejuvenated, thanks to reviving the ecosystem. So that's the overall plot. Yet you can bury your bugs. I took a photo of my dead bug, and the game like popped up some text saying, "Why would you take a picture of that?" But yeah, there you go. That's Bugaboo Pocket. Very nice. I was going to rate higher, and then I started it up yesterday because I was like, you know what, I want to play a little bit more of Bugaboo Pocket to get an idea for it. And for some reason, when I went back to Bugaboo Pocket, I just couldn't feel the motivation to do anything at all. I was like, I don't know if I even care. I don't know why. The magic was gone after that first playthrough. So it's probably going to go in An Game, but I also think I'm putting it at the top of An Game because I think some people really love bugs. There's like a whole new wave of people who love bugs and think bugs are super cute. If you're that person, then Bugaboo Pocket is for you. You're going to absolutely love Bugaboo Pocket. For me, I think bugs are fine. And the game does have enough moving parts that you'll probably get a lot of time out of it. This is very much a second screen sort of game, by the way. This isn't the sort of game you play as your main entertainment. This is like when you're doing something, you have your bug like in the corner of the screen, and you check up on it sometimes. It's more like an idle game. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's the top of An Game. It's a pretty good game, and the art is very good. But I didn't really have any overwhelming drive to keep playing it, but I can acknowledge that for someone, this will be their game of the year, or at the very least, peak. But for me, it's An. It's just An. It is above chess, because at the very least, I'm good at raising bugs. I'm not so good at chess. It's a bit expensive, in my opinion. Oh, is it expensive? I actually haven't checked. But yeah, it might be a little bit pricey in that case, in which case, yeah, I don't know, mileage may vary. Let me just take off my jumper real quick, as I was saying, as it's a little bit toasty. So, next up is Concrete Jungle. Okay. Concrete Jungle. If anyone has played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Concrete Jungle is Queen's Blood. It works very similarly. You're putting down buildings that have effects on tiles next to the building that may let you build a new building, or maybe it will buff a building, or maybe it will debuff a building. And a lot of Concrete Jungle is weirdly competitive. You know what? I do have a video for this one. Basically, you're like building a city, and there's a big competitive element where you're building against a competitor, and you can like debuff their buildings to make them have lower scores. And it was surprisingly pretty in-depth. I found there was a really high difficulty wall where I played it, and like 2 levels in, I just could not beat it. And I was like, this is impossible. And then I took a break, and I came back to it, and something clicked, and then suddenly I was like a machine. And I completed the entire game. It's against bots, but maybe there is a PvP mode. But yeah, sometimes you're doing this, which is single player, where you're just trying to get a high score and move up the map. But sometimes it's a PvP, PvE, where you're against another computer. I wonder if it will show footage of it. But in those instances, you're like deliberately building like oil refineries and sewage plants next to your enemies' buildings to lower their score and make their city suck. It's very fun. It's pretty fun. You can feel like a real nasty guy when you build a sewage plant and completely ruin someone's city. It's very good. But yeah, it feels kind of like, yeah, it's City Skylines PvE. Yeah, here's a competitive one, I think. Yeah, where it's like your score and their score. You can win. So I found a really good deck, which is like a debuff deck, where I would constantly win, not by building a good city, just by making the other person's city completely uninhabitable. And so all I was doing was completely ruining their day and debuffing their cities. And even though I had a score of like 2, they had a score of like -50. So I would always win. It's very fun. Very, very fun. I am surprised how excited I was talking about this, because I kind of thought this would be an game. But I feel like, given how excited I just was, I think I'm putting it in Jud Jame, but it's below my side, okay? I told you, my side deserves to be in Jud Jame. It's Concrete Jungle is below my side. It could be lower. I think for many people this will be lower, but I did genuinely put a lot of time into this, and I did have a pretty good time. Once I found my debuff deck, and I just was ruining people's days constantly, I was having a lot of fun. Oh god. It's Dead by Daylight. So I don't think this needs any introduction. People know Dead by Daylight. So I played Dead by Daylight for a charity marathon stream competition tournament, something, with David Barron and co. I'd never played Dead by Daylight before. Now, my experience playing Dead by Daylight was buffed by my team. So the members of my team, some of them are people who'd played Dead by Daylight before, and they were incredibly welcoming and helpful. Every time I had a really stupid question, because I had no idea how the game worked, they would be very patient and help me learn, and so I feel like I was supported and carried through the learning experience. So my team really made me learn Dead by Daylight a lot better. The tournament itself was also pretty fun to play. The funny thing about Dead by Daylight is when you're in the community for something, you can get so lost in the source that you forget like what the base level is. I played it and I was like, yeah, that's just that's a multiplayer game. Why are people so mad about Dead by Daylight? It's just a multiplayer game. It's a very normal multiplayer game. And I guess when you're like following the patch notes YouTubers who are getting angry all the time, it maybe feels like more of a divisive thing, but it's just a pretty bog standard multiplayer game. And I did have a fun time playing it. However, I have never booted it up after the tournament because there's no way in hell I'm playing it with anyone other than that team because I don't like multiplayer games. I'm not a big multiplayer game person. So I'm gonna put it in an game. It's above Bugaboo Pocket because it's got a lot of stuff in it. No, it's not above Bugaboo Pocket. It's here. It's here. It's in the middle of an game. It's the most an game of an games. It's right in the middle. If you love multiplayer games, maybe you will put it higher. If you hate multiplayer games, maybe you will put it lower. But for me, it was fun for the very limited time I played it, and I don't really care about playing it again. But it was fine. It was fine. I hate multiplayer games, then I would not suggest playing Dead by Daylight. I would not suggest that. No way. But yeah, it's in the middle of the middle. I think a lot of people think it's divisive. I think a lot of people think it's the best game ever or the worst game ever made. I think the truth lies in the middle. I'm the world's most laughable centrist. I think it is just a normal multiplayer game. And I don't really like them, but it feels pretty standard. Next up is Death Stranding 2. Death Stranding 2. Now, here's an interesting thing, because I've learnt that people who do not really mess with Kojima, a lot of people who do not have a track history with Kojima and only really know about his games from the outside, their opinion of Death Stranding is, isn't that the game that's very boring? Isn't that like the boring game? And that's very, very funny, because Death Stranding is a very fun game, but I can understand why, if you've only seen footage, the footage is almost entirely people walking. But I really like Death Stranding. I really like Death Stranding. I liked Death Stranding 1. It was pretty good. I like Death Stranding 2 way more. Death Stranding 2 is has like way more mechanics. It feels way better to control. The story is just more interesting. It's less convoluted for no reason. The enemies are fun. The boss fights are way better. It's got the funniest bit in a game ever. Now, I'm going to put it in peak below 1000X Resist, because I think it is. I think this is a very, very good game. I haven't finished it because it's very long and I got distracted by a ton of other games, but I will finish Death Stranding 2 because it was very good. Let me now describe to you the funniest thing that has ever been done in a video game. So in Death Stranding 2, it plays like a music video by a band called Woodkid, or a singer called Woodkid. And it's like a music video of like the terrain, and it's all moody, and then just as the chorus comes in, your character's on the top of a mountain and you're like, time to go home, and then it says go home. And then you walk for like 20 minutes as there's like landslides and rivers overflowing, and then it starts raining, and you're trying to navigate home. And it's basically the tutorial for the movement system, for the weather system, for how to use tools. It's like a pretty good tutorial, and it lasts for like 20 minutes. Then you get to your house, and there's a bunch of cutscenes, and then a character turns up and basically gives you the story that you need to do. It's like, I need you to go on a mission, you need to go to Mexico, and you need to do this. And your character is like, I don't know if I want to do that. And it gives you a dialogue option of, do you go or do you not go? If you say, I won't go, then that cutscene starts playing again. It goes to like a wall that is covered in photos, and it zooms in on a photo that is from one of the earlier cutscenes, and you go back to the choice. And it says, do you want to do it, yes or no? If you click no again, because you're a stinker, then the camera pans back over to that wall, but instead of zooming in on the photo of the cutscene, it zooms in on a photo of you standing back on top of the mountain, and the music track starts playing again, and it's like, no, don't make me do it! Don't make me play 20 minutes of tutorial again! Don't do it! And then the camera like abruptly like turns to the side, and it just gives you the choice again, but now the no option is gone. The no option has been taken away. You can only say yes. It's very funny. It's such a funny bit to like make you feel like you're about to have to play 20 minutes of tutorial again. So funny. It's peak. It's peak, I'm afraid. It's peak. Okay, so that's Death Stranding 2. Next up, we have Blueprints. Now, you may have heard about Blueprints. It is this year's indie darling. Everyone thinks that Blueprints is a perfect game, an absolutely piece de resistance, the best puzzle game ever made. No. Blueprints has a lot of problems. It also has some very, very, very clever stuff in it. The only problem with Blueprints is that the clever stuff is seemingly intentionally hard to find. I don't know if it's intentionally hard to... Well, no, it is. It's very intentionally hard to find, but I feel like the stuff that makes it annoying is very easy to find, and the stuff that makes it amazing is very hard to find. And so if you do find the good stuff, then you're going to be like, what a genius game. But the average player is going to play this game and be like, what the hell, man? It's basically a roguelike puzzle game, but even if you know the answer to a puzzle, it might just be that on this attempt, you never get the chance to answer the puzzle. So imagine, if you will, a puzzle game where you've solved the puzzle and the game will not give you the box to enter the solution. It's very annoying, and the game does that a lot. However, the game also has some very clever puzzles. It also has some absolutely abysmal puzzles, but it has some very clever puzzles, and I learned that this is based on a book called Maze, and the book called Maze is very similar to Blueprints in terms of like how the puzzles are, like very obscure, weird puzzles. So I kind of see the developer intent now. I see that a lot of the stuff wasn't a mistake, it was like a deliberate intent. It is impossible to ignore that a lot of the worst parts of the game are very front-loaded and apparent to any player, and the best parts are all very hidden for only the most deserving of players. And that's unfortunate, because I do think a lot of people are going to bounce off it. So it's definitely Jud or higher. I think for a lot of people this is going to be peak. I think for me it's peak. I think for me personally it's peak, but for a long time it was like here. For a lot of my playthrough it was here. I think when I started playing it, it was here. and then over time it went to Endgame, and then it went down to Little Stinky. And then I got out of my rut, and I also found the other game modes, and then it went way up again, because it was really fun. So, like, I think a lot of people drop off. I think this is the trajectory for most people. I think they drop off down here, and then they give up. And for me, I, like, bounced back. I went down, and then I bounced back. So I think for me, I'm going to put it at the top of Judd Jame, just to represent my entire playthrough. I think right now, at this second, it's peak, but I think because, like, half of my playtime, it was stinky, I think let's put it in Judd Jame to represent my entire experience. Next up, we're at Deltarune. How many people were waiting for Deltarune? I like all of Deltarune. I like all of it. I think it's all good. It's gonna go... You know what? I said Blueprints was at the top. I think Deltarune goes at the top. What do I like better? Okay, so here's the thing about Chapter 3 and 4. Chapter 3 is a fun, whimsical chapter that is very funny and silly in a way that I deeply resonate with. Chapter 4 is the plot advancement chapter, where they actually advance the plot and do stuff. I like both for very different reasons. I think I rank Chapter 4 slightly higher. It's got really good music, it's got a better boss fight. The secret boss of Chapter 4 is better than any of the others, in my opinion. So it's going up there. Yeah. Why not Game of the Year? Deltarune isn't my Game of the Year, I don't think. I mean, chat, if you yell at me enough, I could probably move Deltarune into peak. I do really like it. Like I say, I'm very uncritical of Deltarune. I find Deltarune very fun. Okay, fine. It's going in peak. Okay, I'll tell you why it's going in peak. Ready? I think a really good... You know what? Okay. Blueprints is going up as well. I think a really good gauge of what I put in peak is, do I watch videos about the game either during me playing it or after I've played it? Do I want to do extracurricular research and watch extra videos about the game I've played? And if I do, then it's probably worthy of the highest honors, right? I have watched so many videos about Deltarune after Chapter 3 and 4. I have watched a ton of videos about Blueprints as well. So I think those deserve it. I've watched videos about none of these. None of these, none of these. So these are like the tiers I have done extra watching about. I mean, I haven't done it for Death Stranding because I haven't finished it, and I don't want to spoil myself, but I would had I finished it. So yeah, there you go. Up to peak. If this is the line that makes Security Breach Game of the Year, you think I watch Security Breach videos? I've got enough Security Breach in my own time that I do not need to get extracurricular Security Breach. I've got 160 hours in Security Breach. I think I've seen enough. Oh my god, it's Nightreign. I couldn't remember if I'd put Nightreign on the list. Oh god. Okay, so we've got Elden Ring Nightreign now. Now, do you remember what I said about multiplayer games? Prince takes way too long to be enjoyable for peak. Brazen Bull, you're talking me back out of it again. You know what? Just one chat message. This is how weak Blueprints' placement is. That one chat message can dislodge it either higher or lower. It literally takes one message. That's how, like, on the cusp this is. Anyway, Nightreign. You remember what I was saying about multiplayer games, how I'm not really a big fan of multiplayer games. I downloaded Nightreign because it looks very, very cool. All the bosses look very, very cool, and I do like Elden Ring. I was playing it solo just to get a feel for the controls, because I was like, I want to play some solo games, get a feeling for how the game works, and then I'll play some multiplayer games. And I discovered that something about Nightreign just does not agree with me at all. I think I like to play Souls games slowly. I like to take in the scenery. I like to slowly, methodically sweep areas and look for items. And that is like the way I play those games and the way I enjoy those games. It's very methodical and slow. Nightreign is all about sprinting through the maps, slashing at enemies as you go, never stopping moving, and it's got a pretty high skill requirement. And a lot of my Dark Souls Elden Ring gameplay is more about coming up with a good build that I really enjoy that lets me melt enemies super fast. For example, I killed Melania in Elden Ring first try, and it wasn't even close. She died instantly. She just melted because I had found a build where any enemy in the game was either staggered or had a status effect that made them stagger constantly. So she was just constantly getting staggered. She didn't even get to attack me. I didn't even know she had a gimmick until I watched videos afterwards. She was just destroyed. I looked up a video and I was like, oh, wait a minute, she heals? She heals when she attacks you? Well, I never got attacked, so I didn't know. Nightreign is not how I play games because you do not get to build a build like that. Or at least if you do, I never got to because I died too quick. And yeah, it's all about being fast-paced. So I haven't refunded this game. I've only played it for like 95 minutes, and I'm like, should I play it for another 30 minutes? Because then I won't be able to refund it. Should I just refund it and admit it isn't for me, or should I keep playing it? I'm right at the decision point. And I wonder if I should keep playing it and try and get good at it, because then maybe I will enjoy it. But my initial experience was just like, I don't think this is made for me. I think this is just not made for me. So it's definitely not stinky, but for me it's an game, because I don't think I really got enjoyment out of it, but it is very clearly not a bad game. So I think the only place I can put it is an game. Refund and buy Mind Over Magnet. Oh, well, you're not going to be happy with what I've got to say about wordplay then. Oh dear. Nightreign, more like Night Lame. Anyway, okay. Next game is Fragrance Point. Now, if you have seen any of my Backseat Gold videos, if you saw the Backseat Gold Q&A, you would see that Fragrance Point was the very... You know what? I'm going to show you a video of Fragrance Point, because you do kind of need to see it to believe it. It is a Y2K looking trippy LCD platforming collectathon where you play as this love heart with a robotic body. It is visually very interesting. It's a fascinating wonder. But in terms of gameplay, I found it pretty boring. It was mostly wandering around and soaking in the vibes, and the vibes are good. The gameplay was not really my cup of tea. It looks like that's a boss battle. I didn't get to the boss battle. The vibes are very good. I mean, you can tell by looking at the screen that the vibes are good. But the gameplay was pretty boring, in my opinion. Yeah, it's got that kind of deliberately ugly look that Cruelty Squad has. I don't even know if I'd call it ugly. It's more like over-designed in the way that the 2000s like to do. But it's kind of... This might be an game as well. We've got a lot of an games this year. It's not a Judd game. I think the gameplay is too basic and a little bit slow for that. I'm gonna put it below Dead by Daylight for some reason. Now, help me figure this out, chat. For some reason, putting something below Dead by Daylight feels like I'm spitting on it. Now, I don't mean anything by it, but putting something below Dead by Daylight feels like a massive diss. But no, I think it is below Dead by Daylight, because Dead by Daylight has a lot going on, and this feels a little bit too simple in the gameplay department. But I really like the aesthetics of Fragrance Point. From the Darkness. Let's be very quick about this one. From the Darkness. From the Darkness is a... It's jump slop, okay? It's jump slop. It's jump scare slop. It is a horror game that is using like Unreal 3 looking assets, and there's a lot of jump scares, and you're in a house and there's like scary people appearing and stuff. It's very, very basic, but it does actually get a lot of mileage out of the jump scares. The jump scares are actually pretty good. I did jump a lot. It's pretty good at, yeah, the S word. Maybe I'm going to start calling everything slop. Let me try and think if I can find a word for every single game in the rest of the tier list and what genre slop it is. But yeah, this is jump scare slop. And it's kind of, you know what? It would be in Little Stinky if it wasn't good at scaring you, but it was actually pretty good at scaring me. I jumped a fair amount. So I'm gonna put it in An Game. It's better than Afterglow. I won't put it higher than Strange Jigsaws. I think Strange Jigsaws has a sense of humor and a kind of cleverness that From the Darkness does not have. So I'm gonna put it below Strange Jigsaws, but it is above Afterglow, I think. Okay, next up we have the main event, Umineko When They Cry. You do not know, chat. You do not know how big of a one this is. If you know nothing about Umineko, you do not know. So, Umineko When They Cry is a visual novel, arse visual novel. Umineko When They Cry has no gameplay. It is just a book. It's a book. It's a 50, 60 hour book. And did I tell you that this is actually only half of the story? This is Questions arc. There's another game called Answers arc. That is the other half of the story. So this is essentially a 120 hour long book. And I'm only ranking the first half of it because I've only played the first half of it. Umineko is also a story that I can't really describe without spoiling it, because the way that it keeps itself interesting is that basically this first game is split into 4 chapters, but they're essentially like 4 books. And each book kind of is telling a slightly different story in a slightly different genre. So if I was to describe the story, I would probably start to spoil the genres that we're traveling through. It's not explicitly traveling through genres, but the story just kind of twists and turns in ways that kind of feel like it's leaning towards different genres. It's very interesting. It's book slop. This is book slop, for sure. This is book slop. I mean, I really like it. I really like it. It's my second most played game this year, I think. You know what? I'm putting it in peak. Being able to talk to people about Umineko is very, very fun. It's got that big book club vibe, and there's so many wild twists and turns that it's just very fun. Okay, everyone, let me one second. Let me do something. So, if you don't want spoilers for Umineko, I'm going to describe the first chapter of the book. The first section, okay? If you don't want spoilers, mute until this lady goes off screen. Because this will be the spoilers for the book. So, this is the old art, by the way. So, the book used to have art drawn by the author, and then they eventually gave it better art, because the author is not that good at drawing, although I really like this art. I like how cheesy it is, but yeah, this is the original art. Anyway, so book 1 is a bunch of rich kids' family, kind of elite types in the 80s, going to a remote island where their dad is on his deathbed. He has all the money, and all of the kids of him and the grandkids of him, they're all going to the island to discuss the fortune and who gets the money. They're all after the money. They're ruthless in how much they want to go after the money, and they're all trying to trick each other and con each other to get the money. And the first, 5 hours of the book, it's all a family drama where they're fighting for the money. And then, at about 6 hours in, people start dying in very gory ways with occult symbols everywhere. And it abruptly turns into a slasher murder mystery where there's a supernatural component and no one knows if there's a witch on the island. Everyone thinks there's a witch. There's a rumor of a scary witch who lives in the woods. And they're like, is the witch killing us? What's going on? And there's theories about maybe the people who died at the start aren't dead, maybe they're alive, and maybe that's why this is and there's so much theorizing about what could possibly be happening. And the entire rest of book 1 is basically a gothic occult murder mystery. It's It's voiced in Japanese, not English. But you do have to read if you don't speak Japanese. Yeah. And so that is the first book. But if you're saying it sounds all over the place, Junkie Jam, that is the first book of 8. And all the books do their own thing. So there's a lot going on in Umineko. It is a borderline saga. It constantly changes gears and changes what it's doing. And it's amazing that it manages to actually pull it off. So that is the spoiler section done. I bet there's a 5-hour video essay about the game. I'm sure there is somewhere. This is ranking the first 4 books or chapters of the game because that's all I've played. It's very hard to recommend to people without spoilers because if you say to someone, you should read Umineko, it's really good, and then they have to get through 5 hours of family drama, you kind of want to tell them that more is happening, but you kind of don't want to spoil it. And guess what, chat? I didn't have it spoiled. I played the game just trusting someone's recommendation, and I did not know what was going to happen at all. So when that moment came, I was like, oh my god. It's so good. It was so good. And it does continue to do that basically throughout. No, it's basically not a game, you're right. It is literally a book. It's a book. There's no gameplay, there's no choices, there's nothing. It's a book. It is a book. But it is peak. It's a peak book. So yeah, I would still put it up here because of the fun I've had with Umineko when they cry. But it is not a game. Now, if anyone is saying that they're tempted, the way you need to play it, and this is going to bounce a ton more people off, the way you need to play it is you need to buy it on Steam and then mod it with a mod called the 7th mod or something, because the Steam version is terrible. So you need to buy it on Steam and then download the mod to mod it to basically be the PlayStation 3 version that is widescreen and has better art and has the voices and all that sort of stuff. Because the version on Steam it has no voices, it's not widescreen, it has the bad art, it's terrible. So you want to mod it. No, okay, so here... Okay, let's talk about Umineko a little bit more. So it does have the old art, right? It has the old art, but it also has some new art. And the new art is questionable. This is so bad, man. I hope you're ready. I hope you are ready. I don't think you're ready for this, chat. So, the original art is on the left. The PS3 art is in the middle. So here's the original art, here's the PS3 art, and here's the Steam art. Do you notice anything happening to this female character? Maybe you will. Let's look at the next female character. Okay, original art, PS3 art, Steam art. Okay, let's keep going because it's going to get more obvious as we go. Original art, PS3 art, Jesus Christ! So yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. So you want to modify it to be the middle one. And the middle one is something you need to modify in. Yeah. So yeah, you need to modify it in. Apparently they lost the rights to the art in the middle, and so when they ported it to Steam, they had to have someone redraw it, and they did that. Also, everyone's face is so sharp. I don't know why everyone's face is so goddamn sharp in the Steam version. But yeah, it's not very good. So I would recommend that if you are going to buy it, you buy the Steam version and then modify it. I'm not showing George, I'm not showing anyone else. But you buy it on Steam and you modify it to be the PS3 version. Okay, so that is Umineko. Like I say, if you avoided the spoilers, just trust me that it's a fun story. If you enjoyed the spoilers, that is not even the half of it. There's a lot more the game keeps up its sleeve in terms of stuff that goes on. In fact, I would say the stuff that defines Umineko as like a kind of identity isn't even the stuff I've described to you. the stuff I described to you doesn't even get into when Umineko becomes Umineko. So lots more to uncover there. Right. Next up, we have Hellkinn. This will be a short one. This is Painscreek. It is basically a... What is it? It's kind of a game where it's a top-down view, it's all black and white, and you're navigating a church, I think? I don't think it has any combat. The art style looks good. It's kind of a retro sort of art style. However, the big downfall for this game is that you move really, really slowly, and the game apparently doesn't have any autosaves, because I got right to the end of the game, I couldn't figure out how to progress, so I closed the game, and then came back to it like 2 hours later, and there were no saves. So I would have to start from the very beginning, and your character moves so slow, and so I said, no. It is free though, it's literally free. If it cost anything, it would be Little Stinky. But because it's free, it's endgame, I guess. You know what, no, I'm putting it in Stinky, but it's free. It's going in Stinky. I felt these two, I felt negative emotions closing the game. And I think that is the gauge of Little Stinky. I didn't lose anything other than time, but I resented the time I lost Tremak. I resented the time I lost. Yeah, time is money, and I did not have a good time. Talking of stinky, Hello Neighbor is a little bit stinky. Let's be honest with ourselves. It's pretty okay. It's better than I expected. I expected it to be really bad. It's better than I expected. However, I've also watched videos since of Hello Neighbor, and I saw that Hello Neighbor used to be way worse. Like, Hello Neighbor at launch, I think, was barely functional. It looked really bad. Like, I thought that it was mostly unpatched because I was flying around on physics objects, but I've seen earlier footage, and it was really bad. I think the concept is good. I think an open world escape room is a cool concept, and I like the art as well. But it's a bit stinky. It is a bit stinky. I'm sorry. People seem very disappointed that I don't like Hello Neighbor, but I'm an adult man who didn't grow up with this, so it's not blowing my socks off, I'll be honest. It's the top of Little Stinky, if that helps you. I didn't have negative emotions. It felt stinky, but I didn't feel upset. Maybe it's because my expectations were so low. Maybe it's because my expectations were so low that it only being a little bit stinky was a pleasant surprise. Did you have any emotions closing the game? I closed the game, and then I went to some trusted friends who don't know anything about Hello Neighbor, and I said, that was not as bad as I thought. And I was like, I like the art style, and it wasn't that bad. It was a little bit bad though. It was a little bit stinky. I don't have a tier for just like big stink. If I had a tier for big stink, it definitely wouldn't be in that. But I think Little Stinky is pretty fair. Okay, next up, Daemonologie. This is a game I played for channel members, actually. Daemonologie is a witch hunting game. You are dropped in a village. It's kind of like single player Among Us. You're dropped in a village and there's a witch about. But which villager is the witch? That's your job. And at the end of your time in the village, you need to pick someone who is a witch, and then they will be presumably killed. I think you get burned. The art style is very cool. It's got kind of like a stop motion aesthetic. So you can see the aesthetic. It's kind of like very eerie and stop motion. Like, not all of the game looks like this. A lot of the game is pixel art, but the cutscenes have this kind of like really trippy stop motion aesthetic that is very, very cool and very dreamlike. And it really sets the atmosphere of like, yeah, it's set in like the, obviously the witch hunting times. Yeah, so here's what most of the gameplay looks like. You're mostly navigating the map and talking to people. But the dream cutscenes are super cool. Let me see if I can find one. Yeah, here. Oh, God. Yeah, it's a very cool looking game. How many reviews? It has 430 reviews now. That's not bad. Not bad. Yeah, it's basically, so here's my theory about Daemonologie. Evil Aardman. My theory about Daemonologie is that no one is a witch in that game, and that the game is more of a kind of experiment in paranoia, because you can do horrible things to the villagers. You can torture the villagers to get information out of them and do all sorts of nasty stuff to find this witch, and every dream sequence seems to point to a different villager being the witch, and I wonder if it's just your character is dreaming that someone's a witch and there is no actual proof, and it's literally a witch hunt. You're just trying to find a witch, but there isn't one. And so my theory is that there is no correct answer and no one is a witch. But I do not know that for sure, because I played it through once and I said someone was a witch, they got burned, and then it was like game over. But you can play again to find out new stuff, by asking different people different questions. And I wonder if there is a correct answer or whether everyone is innocent and you are just a monster, because I suspect it might be that. My theory is that everyone is a witch. I mean, that's possible too. Just in general, in real life. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I think it's a good game. I don't think it's an game. I think it's a good game. I think it's better than Concrete Jungle in vibes alone, but I think it stops there. Yeah. Daemonologie goes in good game. Yeah, I think it's historically accurate to actual witch hunts, which makes me feel like that's what it's about. That there isn't a witch. Well, no, here's the thing. I hyped up Concrete Jungle because I had fun with it, but it is undeniably like a mobile game. It looks like a PopCap game. So I don't know how much higher I can put it than this. Okay, next up, wordplay. Wordplay. It's either down here or here. I thought wordplay had a lot of potential, and it was like not used. I feel like wordplay is like the first early access patch of a game where like the basic concept is there, but none of the polish and extra stuff is there. And then Mark Brown just dropped it and left it and never came back to it. It felt like there was a lot of potential on the table, and instead he just dropped it and ran. And that's a real shame. It's not easy to get runs going, and it feels like there's only like 3 builds that would work anyway, and it's so slow to get them off the ground. Like, yeah, I feel like it's, like I say, the first early access version of something that was then just never updated. Like, that's what it feels like. If you would have dedicated a year to just making this better and better, it could have been a legit roguelike game, like a big thing in the genre, and instead it was just abandoned. It's a big shame. Next up, we have Insert Game here, another free game. This one landed in my inbox from the developer, and I believe it had like no one who had played it, so I played it on stream for the first time. This is definitely an game. It's basically just a joke game. It's like a Stanley Parable sort of game, but Stanley Parable has like, its entire joke is based around player agency and choices. Insert Game here, the joke is that you're entering a game that isn't ready to be entered yet. And that's the joke. One slight problem with that is that that joke's already been done by the Stanley Parable developers. It's called like The Amazing Emerald of Dr. Strangov or something, and that plot already exists in a comedy game that is even funnier than this and is also free. So, like, the idea has already been done, and it's been done better. So that's a problem in terms of Insert Game here. I think it was done okay, though. I don't think this was bad, but it just has literally already been done better, like, years ago. So I can't even rank it that much higher for novelty. But it's not bad. I'm going to put it at the bottom of an game. The next game is called Keep Driving. Keep Driving is another game that channel members may know. This is This is sad. I feel like I'm going to be negative too many times in a row, but we are going to get into good games again very soon. So Keep Driving is a good game, but the issue with Keep Driving is that it is another one of those games where I played it once, and I was like, man, I love this game. The vibes are immaculate. It's got like a 1990s, 2000s road trip kind of vibe. You're traveling across the country. It's another kind of roguelike game. You're picking places to go on the map. you're fueling your car, you're adding upgrades to your car, you're picking up hitchhikers that have like different stats, and then you encounter different scenarios on the road that will be easier or difficult to solve depending on who is in your car. The vibes are really, really good. However, it has like 3 songs, and the songs are good, but it's got like 3 of them. And so it gets pretty repetitive, and when you close the game and reopen it, it feels like you're going to be doing exactly the same on your second session that you did on your first session. It's got really good vibes though. I don't think it's an game. I think it's got a little bit too much sauce to be an game. I think it's Judd Jame. I just wish I thought it was a peak Jame. I wish I liked it more. I'm gonna put it here. I like it. I do like it. I'm fond of it. But I don't see myself playing it again, probably. Maybe I would. I'm not like averse to it, but I just can't imagine getting the motivation to play it again. Okay. Now let's talk about something a little bit special. It's Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. It's going straight into peak. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is probably going... It's between these two, I think, at the moment, for top of peak. I really, really like Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. So, this is a puzzle game. Now, I do warn you, it's art slop. It is very artsy. I like it, obviously. Just in case you've only just joined, I'm calling everything slop. It's not me making fun of the game, seriously. The good thing about it, it's kind of got a vibe like Killer 7 from like the PlayStation 2, but it's a puzzle game. And the entire reason, other than the cool visuals and the really good soundtrack, the reason I like this game is the ending. The ending is a puzzle that is so wide-reaching and expansive and so involved. And I was able to solve it without a guide, but I did have help from friends. So here's a fun game for us to play, chat. Looking up a guide in a puzzle game is cheating, right? Like, unambiguously, looking up a guide in a puzzle game is cheating. Now, if you showed like a screenshot to a friend and you said, "Can you help me solve this puzzle?" Is that cheating? Because to me, that doesn't feel like cheating. That feels like that's like 2 heads are better than 1, right? It still feels like someone is solving the puzzle. It doesn't feel like cheating to me. Yeah, that's teamwork, right? So I didn't use a guide for this game, but towards the end of the final puzzle, I did send like screenshots and stuff to friends and being like, well, they couldn't cheat because I never gave them context. I never told them any context. I was just like, what does this look like to you? And they would try and solve it and help me out. So I never gave them the context. But not necessarily to spoil the puzzle, but just to talk about the way I'm talking about. Basically, the final puzzle of the game brings together things that you've been solving throughout the entire rest of the game. So if you imagine that like every puzzle you've solved, or almost every puzzle you've solved, results in a puzzle piece itself, that then must be fed into a different puzzle. Basically, like, when you get to the final thing and you suddenly realize you need to, like, combine the entire game and fold it in on itself for, like, what... It was absolutely mind-blowing. I had pieces of paper all over my desk. I've never had a puzzle game experience better than that. It absolutely kicks the piss out of Blueprints. Blueprints is good, but that final puzzle was way better. Like, that's the best puzzle I've ever solved. It was so fun. So fun. I remember, like, opening a part of the... I remember opening a thing and being like, this isn't part of the puzzle, is it? And staring at it and being like, no, obviously not. And then staring at it for, like, 2 seconds longer and being like, wait a minute, is that? Jesus Christ. And suddenly, like, a million things click into place and I'm like, wait a minute, what if I look at this other thing? And I look at the other thing and I'm like, oh my God. And I suddenly see everything is, oh my God, it's so good, man. I've literally got goosebumps. Like, it was so good. Very, very, very good puzzle game. Very good. I've literally got goosebumps describing it to you. Like, that's how good it was. Oh my god. Okay, we're getting through the list a little bit. Bit by bit, we're getting through the list. Okay, FACEMINER. FACEMINER is our second entry in the AI tier. Now, credit to FACEMINER at the very least. FACEMINER explicitly says that it uses AI, and the reason it uses AI is pretty understandable. The point of the game is that you're meant to be like a data collection company, and you're scanning a bunch of people's faces, and so the game needs like 2,000 faces, and so they generated 2,000 faces, so that's why. And the Steam page tries to act like it's anti-AI. It's like, this is a commentary on AI. I don't know if I believe it. I don't know. The reason it's below Among Ashes, though, is that I also thought the game wasn't fun. I played it for like 5 minutes, and maybe not 5 minutes, maybe like 15 minutes, and I was like, this isn't very fun. This just isn't very fun. So like, it tried. The reason I played it, knowing it had AI in it, is because I was like, it sounds like a kind of. Also, the AI was apparently ethically sourced. It wasn't ChatGPT. It was like a face database that has existed for like 10 years. So it's like, it's apparently like an ethically sourced supply of faces, and it said it was anti-AI. So I was like, I'll give it a shot. But it was just not very fun. Yep, it's down there. Ethically sourced faces, yeah. But yeah, it's just not very good is the issue. So like it goes below Among Ashes, even though Among Ashes kind of annoyed me more. The gameplay is just not very good in FACEMINER, so I don't think there's any reason to play it. So it goes here for me. No, I'm Not a Human is a... What kind of game even is this? How do you describe this? You live in a house, there's natural disasters going on outside, and you choose people to let into your house or not. I guess it's closest to a visual novel, I guess, but you're choosing the characters you let into your house or not. But much like Among Us, some of those characters can be killers, and they can start killing people in your house. But you do need to have people in your house, because if you don't have people in your house, then a big scary man who's in this little image here will, I'm guessing, enter the house and kill you if there's no one else in the house. So you need people in the house, but they might be killers themselves, and that's the trade-off. It's pretty fun. The tone is massively bleak, though. I feel like this year has had a lot of bleak games, a lot of bleak stories, and I'm not really in the mood for bleak stories right now. I'll be real, I'm not really in the mood for bleak. I say that, but I ranked 1000X Resist so high, but I'm not really in the mood for bleak. It is good, but it's not peak. It does have a cat, but guess what, Doc Huladay? I didn't let the cat in. I know the person told me to let the cat in, but I didn't do it, so I missed the cat. I'm sorry. You know what? The place I put it, is actually the perfect place. I just looked at the tier list, and I just realized that this is literally the perfect place. I think my side, I liked more, and I think it's better than Daemonologie, because there's just more going on. So, yeah, I think this is the perfect place for it. Right here. No, I'm Not a Human. Yeah. It doesn't go much higher than that, I think. I liked it, but yeah, it was just so bleak, man. I basically made this a video for channel members, and I was like 2 hours into my playthrough, and I was like, I feel bad about playing this for channel members, because people are paying money to see me play a game, and I'm just making them sad. And so I felt bad about playing it. Because it's so bleak. But it's not bad. Like, that's not a reason for me to rank it lower, I don't think. But it's very bleak. And talking about bleak, harrowing stories, it's time for Nubby's Number Factory. Yet another pinball roguelike situation. Nubby's Number Factory is it's like a roguelike game. You have a bunch of modifiers that you can purchase from a store, and they will affect your score or how the ball works or how different effects work. And the goal is to just get a high enough score to clear the level. And the modifiers you collect will do that. The art style is similar to, what's it called? Fragrance Point and Cruelty Squad. The aesthetic is very early 3D, deliberately ugly and over the top, like MS Paint kind of thing. Anyway, where do I put this? I didn't rate Nubby's Number Factory that high. I feel like the variety isn't there. I feel like there's like some challenge modes, and I played a lot of the challenge modes to try and get more fun out of it, to try and mix it up a bit, and the challenge modes didn't really do that much for me. I thought it was fun enough. I've played probably a good couple of hours of it. If I had to guess, I'd say like 5 to 6 hours of Nubby's Number Factory, but it just didn't really have an extended life beyond that. Did it feel good? I actually think it felt good. I'm putting it in good Jane, but near the bottom. I think it did feel good, but like I say, I felt like I ran out of variety very quickly, way more quickly than these sort of games usually run out of variety. And then there was like a 4-month update that was being teased for ages, where it's like you can unlock cosmetics for your ball, and I'm like, maybe cosmetics will be enough to get me to keep playing. And I booted it up once, and I was like, actually, it's not. And I closed it without even playing a game, because I was like, actually, I'm just not interested. So, but I had fun with what I played, but also I feel like it ran out of steam a little bit quicker than I would have expected. Maybe my expectations are too high for games now. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe I expect every game to hook me for 15 hours, and maybe some games aren't meant to do that. Maybe that's just how it is. And me expecting every game to hook me for 15 hours is just unfair. Yep, some games are just a little trip. A little trip. It's good for its point. Well, that's the thing I'm talking about Doc Holiday, is it's probably cheap. And so me expecting it to give me 15 hours of entertainment is maybe unfair. Okay, next up is I'm on Observation Duty 3. I think I'm on Observation Duty 3 is better than the previous two. It's not better than Nubby's Number Factory, though. I think it's Anne. Is it better than Dead by Daylight? This is like, Dead by Daylight is like the halfway point of the tier list. It's like, if you're like above or below Dead by Daylight is such a value judgment. I don't think it's better than Dead by Daylight. But this is my favorite one. I actually liked that you walk around. I know that was divisive and a lot of people didn't like that, but I actually really liked that you walk around and it's 3D. I've heard the 8th one is very good. I've heard people say the 8th one is the best, but it will take a lot of games to get to the 8th one, and I feel like that's going to be a lot of genitalia to work through. It's genital slop. God, that is the most cursed combination of words I've ever said. Okay, I'm going to really quickly refill my water, and then I'll be right back. See you in just a second. Let's talk about some theme slop. We're talking about themes. It's Silent Hill F. So I played Silent Hill F on stream. I played 2 or 3 streams. I can't remember how much I played. Did I play 2 or 3 streams of Silent Hill F? It might have been 2. Now the issue is, as you are aware now, I was working on the Invisible Mimic video. I was working on the Softlock Sprint video around this time, and I simply did not have time to play all of Silent Hill F on stream, especially because to get the full story of Silent Hill F, you need to play the game 4 times. And I do not have the time to play a game 4 times on stream when I'm in the middle of other big projects. So what I did was I chipped away at Silent Hill F while editing on my own time, and I did play it through 4 times. So yeah, basically, the way Silent Hill F works is it has a new game plus cycle and the story slightly changes on New Game Plus, but then the ending dramatically changes on New Game Plus. And then you play New Game Plus Plus, and the game slightly changes on New Game Plus Plus, and then the ending dramatically changes on New Game Plus Plus. And then there's a fourth time where the ending once again changes, and now that's the true ending. And the issue is that you can't skip. Well, this is now out of date. You couldn't skip basically any of the content. You could only skip a little bit of content by knowing where to go. Generally speaking, you just had to redo everything every single time. And that was very, very tedious. And it was mostly the exact same content, which was very boring. However, they patched the game since to let you skip more and more stuff. So now New Game Plus should go by a lot quicker. So that is a good thing. Now that is literally the negative thing, by the way. The positive parts is basically everything else. I did really enjoy it. I like the story, I like the character work, and I actually feel like the game has a pretty good message for basically everyone when all is said and done. I feel like when the story completely wraps up and it's given all of its angles, when it's combined all of those angles into the one true ending, I feel like the story is actually pretty positive and valuable to basically anyone. It's just a shame that it takes you 4 playthroughs to get that ending. But I did like it. I like the game. It's not my favorite Silent Hill game, but it's not a bad Silent Hill game. When is a game enough hours to play? I feel like if you could somehow get all of the story into one New Game Plus, then that would be like ideal. The fact that you have to do a New Game Plus, then a New Game Plus Plus, then a New Game Plus 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 is obviously too much. That's obviously too much. But I feel like the story is good. I just don't know if it's worth that much. I don't know if it's worth that much. Anyway, Silent Hill F, it's Jud Jame for me. I'm not actually going to put it in peak. I'm not going to put it in peak because I feel like its flaws are too flawed. You know, the replaying for the story is the reason you're here. I mean, the graphics are also good. The graphics and vibes are also really good. But the story is why you're here, and they hide it behind like 4 New Game Pluses, so it can't go in peak. If Blueprint's wasting my time a little bit is here, then Silent Hill F should be like... I feel bad putting it below Ball Pit, so it's going above Ball Pit. But below Blueprints. Anyway, there you go. There's Silent Hill F, living there. Next up, The Great Ace Attorney. Hell yeah. So, The Great Ace Attorney is the newest... Well, I say newest in quotes because I'm pretty sure this came out in like 2019. And they're just porting it to like the West and new systems. But it came out in like 2019 on the 3DS or something. And it's good. It is good. It's probably one of my favorite Ace Attorney games. This is Lawyer Slop. This is Objection Slop. I'm gonna put it in Jud Jame, below F and below Blueprints, but above all of these. There's a big gap here, by the way. The gap between Ball Pit and these 3 is pretty big. There's like a big gap here. So yeah, Great Ace Attorney neatly slots in here. I feel like the Great Ace Attorney is probably the best of the Ace Attorneys. It's got Sherlock Holmes, although for copyright reasons, they can't call him Sherlock Holmes, so they call him Herlock Sholmes. And in fact, Herlock Sholmes is such a good character who I enjoyed so much that every single time I say Sherlock Holmes, I need to do a mental checkpoint to make sure I do not accidentally say Herlock Sholmes. Because Herlock Sholmes has kind of overwritten Sherlock Holmes in my brain as like a character. He's like Control-V'd over the top of Sherlock Holmes. So Sherlock Holmes is in the public domain, but not all of Sherlock Holmes is in the public domain. And the family who own Sherlock Holmes are very litigious. So if you put Sherlock Holmes in anything, they will sue you. They will claim that you are adapting the later works, no matter what. They will find a reason, and sometimes that is literally just, in the later books, he was softer, and because he's being nice in this scene, you're clearly adapting the later Sherlock Holmes, so we're suing you. Like, they're very litigious. So basically, anytime someone puts Sherlock Holmes in something, they either need to work with the Conan Doyle estate, or they need to do what they did here and just call him Herlock instead. It's very funny. Okay, anyway, great Ace Attorney. I really haven't spoken much about it. We've mostly been spoken about Herlock, which, to be fair, is a big part of the game. But yeah, it's a 2-game pack. The pacing is completely balked because it was meant to be a trilogy, so they made 1 game that was basically a third of the story, expecting to make 2 more games. Then the first game didn't do very well, so then they made a second game that is the entire rest of the story. So game number 1 is like a third of the story, game number 2 is 2/3 of the story. So the pacing suddenly doubles in the second game, and it's very weird. But it is a good duology. The first game is a little bit slow, though. Okay, next up is Road to Empress. I guess I've got to find footage of Road to Empress. God damn it. So, Road to Empress is like Dispatch, like Telltale Games, like 999. It is a choice-based game with branching story paths, but it is set in ancient China, and it's all live action. With live action actors, and it is very, very over the top, dramatic, and silly. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Basically, as you see here, there's a timeline where you're making choices and you're picking different options. Now, the reason it's called Road to Empress is because there is only one path where you don't die. There's only one path where you can make it to be the Empress and you do not die. The basic story is that you're basically like a woman who's been brought into the palace, and you're one of like 20 women who might become the Emperor's new lady, and everyone wants each other dead because everyone wants to be the one who's chosen. And so it's basically like the most murderous series of The Bachelor you've ever seen in your life, as all these women are trying to kill each other. And you play as one of the women, and you need to navigate the situation without being murdered. And yeah, basically there's only one right option for every choice, and you need to get to the end of the game. And any wrong choice, you're gonna die. And it's always very, very funny how, like, the most minor thing, like, okay, you stayed in the bath slightly too long, okay? You were enjoying your bath and you chose to stay in the bath. That's murder. You're gonna get strangled because you just can't do anything in this goddamn palace. So yeah, it's like everything is a death sentence. This bloody soup, deadly osmanthus soup, it's such a meme that there's a character in this game who feeds people poison soup. And everything you do, she's souping you. Like, you're slightly late to show up for something. That's a souping. You're dead. You're out late at night. That's a souping. You lose a keychain. That's a souping. You're just getting souped and killed constantly. It's so funny. Also, this, you see here, it says Consort of Yang Elegance, and there's like a text note, sorry, like a voice note. You know in Batman, when you die in the Batman games, and they say like, "Hey, Bats, I thought you were tougher than that. I guess not." And then they go back into the darkness. That's what this is. Like, you die, and then a bunch of women who hate you say that you suck. Like, it's so over the top and funny. It is Soupslop. It's Soupslop. But yeah, it's very, very silly. Very over the top. And I haven't finished it. I've only played about a quarter of it, but it is it's pretty funny. The ways that you die for doing basically nothing wrong is peak. It's so funny. You do like the most minor infraction and someone instantly murders you. It's just so funny. I don't know what they're doing in the trailer, though, with this whole level up thing. The trailer is clearly edited for a Western audience. It's got like an American voiceover. The game isn't like that. The game isn't like that at all. It's got none of this video game stuff in it, like level up and game over. Also, just a little thing. Chinese games, this is made in China, obviously. Chinese games are basically... The Chinese game industry is mostly based around mobile games. And so the grammar of games in China is very similar to free-to-play games. This game is not free-to-play. This is a paid game. However, it's got 3 in-game currencies, and you can buy them with real-world money. Now, what do those in-game currencies do, I hear you ask? Well, you've got eggs, and you've got flowers, and you've got gold. The flowers and eggs are literally just to vote on who you like or dislike the most. It doesn't affect the story. It doesn't affect how characters treat you. This isn't Stardew Valley. You're not giving people flowers and they like you more. It's just to hate. It's just if you're a big enough hater, you can spend real-world money to buy eggs and egg your least favorite character. And there's a leaderboard for the most hated character, and you can see which individual gamer spent the most money to throw eggs at that character. So there's like a leaderboard for haters. It's so funny. And again, it's like completely unnecessary, but it's just the funniest thing in the world that you can see the individual gamer who hated this character the most. Anyway, Road to Empress I haven't actually rated yet. I fear it's maybe peak, but I feel like if I put Road to Empress above Silent Hill F, I feel like I would lose all credibility. I feel like IGN saying that that Pokemon game had too much water, I feel like I would lose all privileges of being any sort of like authority in the gaming space. So I'll put it below The Great Ace Attorney. But it's really good. It's really funny. It is Soupslop. It's my favorite Soupslop of the year. Let me just Google, is there a Deadly Osmanthus soup compilation? I feel like there must be a fan-made compilation of every time you get souped. Road to Empress soup. I don't think there is. Man, someone needs to make that. Someone needs to make a supercut. But the soup has an S-O-U-P. Okay. That is Road to Empress, and I hope you all enjoyed me rambling about that one, because that's a very fun one. Okay, we're gonna have to pick up the pace a little bit, because my stomach is rumbling, and that's not a good sign, because we're like halfway through, if even that. Okay, next up is Out of Hands. Let's do a little lightning round, shall we? Out of Hands is AI. Out of Hands is a weird game, in that it has a bunch of really well put together like stop motion and different kind of art styles in a way that feels like the creator had a vision. A lot of the parts of the game are hands, the creator making motions with their hands in a way that feels very clever and cool. However, they also have a bunch of AI for some reason. And it really detracts from the artistic vibe the game has when half of it is like really low budget but creative, and the other half is AI slop. I don't know why you would put so much effort into the art and then just do the rest with AI. It feels really weird. So yep, it's down there. Next game is Queen of Moths. Queen of Moths is also AI. We got 2 back-to-back. Queen of Moths is a kind of visual novel game that is not marked as containing AI on Steam. It's kind of like a horror short visual novel thing. It costs like £1. It's very, very cheap. I bought it and I played like halfway through it and I was like, is this AI? Because the game has a lot of... Basically, the art style for this game is very pixelated. Everything looks like a very, very, very crunchy JPEG. Everything is meant to look really, really low resolution and pixelated. And that kind of disguises if the art is AI or not. And I think that is deliberate. But guess what? People can tell because you go to the Steam community forum and everyone is saying, is this AI? And I think it's AI. I'm pretty certain it's AI, and that was very disappointing. People are saying, how am I attracting so much AI? It's because I like to play undiscovered games. I like to play games that are like undiscovered, small indie games. And so I will go on Steam, I will see a game that seems cool, and I will just buy it. I won't do that much more research on it because I want to play it blind. I will just buy it and hopefully have fun. However, AI has been seeping more and more into indie games lately. So me personally, I've been getting zapped by it so much, which is annoying. Because I want to support and find small indie games, but it just keeps being AI. Like, they keep using AI, and it's very annoying. Like I want it to be a positive experience, and especially like Among Ashes, I streamed that because I like to give small indie games like a spotlight if they seem cool. And so I played that for the first time on stream and then discovered on stream that it has AI in it. And it's just like very annoying. It's heartbreaking, man. Sad. In a more positive note though, Kandinhale is not AI. Sorry, I was going to say it's AI and then take it back, but then I would feel really bad for the developer of Kandinhale that I would even joke about it. It's not AI at all. Kandinhale is an RPG Maker game that the art style of the character sprites is very Tumblr sexy, man. It's so... And people are saying, how do I know it's not AI? That's how I know. This game has such Tumblr sexy, man. It's got a human hand. You can see the human hand beautifully crafting these sexy men. The actual concept of the game, though, is kind of interesting. It's like it's like a joint medical / candy production facility where I think they're melting down people and turning them into candy. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But the good thing about the game is that it's on a 1 hour timer. So as soon as you start the game, there's a 1 hour timer. And when that time runs out, the game is over. Whether you escape or whatever you do, the game is over. So you're on a running clock throughout the entire game. And you're trying to escape this facility, talk to people, do side quests, all that sort of stuff. I got one ending where I managed to escape, and then I didn't play it again. But it was cool. It was neat. I think it might be free as well. I got this emailed to me. The person who made this emailed it to me. And I'm glad they did, because I enjoyed it. I'm not even... I'm a bit stumped. It's free. I'm a little bit stumped. Do I put it in Jud or Anne? It's not my kind of game. Like, RPG Maker games are generally not my kind of game, but it seemed cool and I liked the time concept. But I feel like putting it above Nightreign is taking the piss. You know what? Just because we're coming straight off all the AI stuff, and this is so beautifully human crafted, I'm putting it in Jud. Just as like a rebellious placement. A rebellious placement to teach a lesson to the AI squad. The beautiful Tumblr sexy man, it's going at the bottom of Jud. For the human-crafted sexy man. Good stuff. Okay, next up is Poco. Poco is peak. There's literally, I do not even need to think about it for a goddamn second. Poco is peak. Poco is also free. Poco is a point-and-click adventure game, beautiful art style. I mean, I guess I could show you a trailer for Poco because I know as soon as you all see a trailer for Poco, you're gonna say, oh yeah, that's peak. So yeah, this is Poco. He's a little clown. And it's basically a point-and-click adventure game where you're navigating this beautifully handcrafted world. Look at the art. It's so gorgeous. It's very short. It's funny. It's cute. It's completely free. Yep, it's very, very good. It's an obvious peak, completely free, literally no reason not to play it. It lasts for maybe like 2 to 3 hours. Yeah, no, it started as a school project. Yeah, I think it started as a school project, and then they ran a Kickstarter to make it into a full release. I think that's what happened. And it's very good. It's very good. Oh, by the way, you saw for a second there, your little clicking hand. When you talk to someone, it does like a little flappy mouth thing with the hand. Like, look at that. When it goes over the worm, it's like a little flappy hand, like it's talking. Just so much charm, so much care, so much cuteness. It's very, very good. Poco is an easy peak. Easiest peak of my life. It's a fun, free little game, beautifully made. Like, I have zero complaints. So it goes in peak. Amazing stuff, Poco. Good stuff. Okay, what's next? Silent Hill Short Message. Okay. Silent Hill Short Message actually has a lot in common with Silent Hill F. I actually kind of didn't really like this that much. I thought it was okay, but the gameplay is kind of bad. I've kind of referred to it as Life is Strange in Silent Hill. That's kind of what it is. It's also free, so that helps, but I'm going to put it in AND game. It's like way lower than Silent Hill F. It's not that good. I feel like Silent Hill F just ate Silent Hill Short Message's lunch. Everything Silent Hill Short Message tried to do, Silent Hill F just did better. And so there's literally no reason to play this anymore when Silent Hill F exists. It's worse than, no, it is worse than Dead by Daylight, yeah. It is worse than Dead by Daylight. Occasionally, or at the very least at the end, it has a chase sequence, or it has them every now and again. It has chase sequences every now and again, and they're always pretty tedious. They're not really fun at all. So when it does have gameplay, it's pretty bad. When it doesn't have gameplay, it's all right. But generally speaking, I don't really rate it. There. So yeah, it's going down here. Next up is Part of You. Now, I don't think I can... Okay. Part of You, if you don't know, is a game. Remember I was saying how I love to just dig through indie games and play them and stream them, knowing very little about them, because I just like to show off indie developers and kind of give them a spotlight. Part of You is an example of why that's so good. Because Part of You is a game that had 15 reviews when I found it, and none of those reviews had played for more than 2 hours. This game is like at least 10 hours long. So no one had finished the game, and there was only like 15 reviews. Part of You is really good. It is a kind of Psychonauts vibes, kind of a bit jazz punk, a little bit Undertale in a way, in kind of how they handle the lore, and I discovered it all for myself. It feels very selfishly like a game was developed entirely for my stream, because I'm the only person who played it. When I was stuck on a puzzle, literally no one knew the answer. No one could backseat, no one could look up the answer, because no one had played the game before. There were no answers online. The only way you could tell me the answer to a puzzle is to download it yourself and get ahead of me, and then tell me the puzzle solution. So it was very, very fun, because as we were trying to solve problems, we could actually communicate as equals, me and chat, because chat didn't have information I didn't have. So we could actually solve stuff together. And it was very, very, very fun. And it's like the best streaming experience probably ever. The best streaming experience. As a game, it's Judd. It's not peak as a game. As a stream, it's peak. It's like my favorite thing. But this is, I think of this tier list kind of like a recommendation system, as if you at home should play it. And if you at home should play Part of You, I think, yeah, you probably should. But I also don't think it's like up here, like you need to play it now. I think it's like, it's good, but it's not like peak. So I'm gonna put it in this beautiful slot between Ballpit and the rest, up here. I really think Part of You is a very solid, good game. But in the age of the internet, yeah, like Tremax said, in the age of the internet, it's extremely hard to find a game that hasn't been touched. No one else has talked about it. No one else has played it. There are no playthroughs online. No one can find any of the answers to your problems. You need to solve it yourself. It's very, very hard to find that, and Part of You gave me that, and I will be eternally grateful for that. So it lives in high Judd Jame. Yeah. Yeah, we're on Part of You. We're on Part of You here. This one. That's the game we're talking about. And enough of that, though, because we're on to Poppy Playtime 4. a game that a lot of my audience will actually know. Poppy Playtime 4. It's not Little Stinky, but I mean, I said immediately after I finished this game, I said that I wasn't really impressed. I said that I just wasn't really impressed. It didn't grab me, and I really thought it would because I really liked Chapter 3. And then over the next 2 weeks, I saw the mascot horror community slowly turn on the game and call it bad. And I was like, well, thank God I was there first. Means that I get to keep my gamer credentials and don't look like a heartless shill saying that it's amazing. Now, I know that I just took a break to refill my water, but I'm actually going to take an additional break to eat some snack bars because my stomach is growling like no one would believe. I'm pretty sure the music is covering it up, but my stomach is growling and rumbling so much right now that I'm going to quickly eat a snack bar that I have on my desk, and then we'll be back with the tier list. So let me just be right back. So, tier list. Where were we? Sexy Brutale. Okay, so this is what a place to come back to. So this is a game where every single review, every single person you will ever hear talk about the Sexy Brutale will say, I wish it had a different name. Literally every single review will say that, which is a shame because the Sexy Brutale is really good. But the name is a massive turnoff. I feel like in an ecosystem where there wasn't adult games all over Steam, maybe this would be fine. But in an ecosystem where adult games are all over Steam, I feel like this just immediately makes people go, oh, not that. Which is a shame, because it's the name of a casino. The casino is called the Sexy Brutale, and the game takes place in that casino. But otherwise, it's completely irrelevant. So that's a very unfortunate name. But if you like the gameplay of Ghost Trick, this is Ghost Trick, but it's a time loop game. So you are stuck in a time loop, there are people all over a giant mansion dying, and you need to find ways to stop them from dying. There's a bunch of collectibles, there's a bunch of cool stuff. Yeah, like that guy's taking the gun. Maybe you could do something to make the gun not work. Stuff like that. You get powers, as you say, you get like new powers which unlock new parts of the mansion, you unlock the ability to lockpick, you unlock the ability to break glass, stuff like that. It's loop slop, this is time loop slop. It's become a whole slopful genre, but it is very good. Now, I must confess, this is not my first time playing the Sexy Brutale. I actually first played it when it came out. And when was that? I actually don't know when that was. I'll look when I close this trailer down. But it's been out for a while. This is not a new game. And I was recommending it to a bunch of my friends. And I was like, you know what? I should actually replay it. It's 8 years old. It came out 8 years ago. I was like, you know what? I should actually replay it to make sure that it doesn't suck. Because I'm recommending it to all my friends, and I replayed it, and it doesn't suck. It's in fact a good game. I think it is... You know what? I'm going to put it above the Great Ace Attorney. I don't think it's better than the Great Ace Attorney, but I feel like it is better per minute than the Great Ace Attorney. This game is a lot shorter. This game is like 3 hours long. And the Great Ace Attorney is like 35 hours long, or maybe even 60. So the quality is condensed. In this game. So I'm going to put it up here, actually. I think it is an absolute banger. Very good game, the Sexy Brutale. It's a shame about the name. If they just called it the Brutale, that would be fine. Just get rid of the word sexy, just call it the Brutale. But it's a bit late for that. It's been out for 8 years, so it's a bit late. Good game. Next game is Starvaders. This is another roguelike Space Invaders-y sort of thing. This one is turn-based, though. So it's a lot slower paced. I think it's good. I think it's a bit too easy. Like, I completed way too much of this in, like, my first and second run. I feel like I completed half of the game within, like, an hour and a half. And then everything else has just been, like, squeaking out extra unlocks, but generally speaking, I did most of it very quick. I'm going to put it between Bad End and Cloverpit. I think Ball Pit, Cloverpit, Starvaders, and Bad End Theatre are all very, very close to each other. This is a very hotly contested zone of the tier list. Let's actually move on then to the Painscreek Killings. The Painscreek Killings is an open-world detective game. It is one of the very rare, truly open-world detective games. It is an entire abandoned town. There's an entire town that has been deserted, and there were some people who died here. And it is your job to go in. I think you're meant to be a journalist or something. It's your job to go in and ransack the houses, go through the drawers, and figure out what happened in this town. There's a bunch of clues that are not even explicitly like notes you find, just contextual things you should observe in the environment that will help you solve this case. Now, the Painscreek Killings is pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's got a couple of flaws. It can be really obscure, and if you miss something, because the game is so unguided and because it is an entire town, if you go into a room and you're just not quite observant enough and you miss an object and then you leave that room, how are you ever gonna find that again? Like, you wander away and then half an hour later you find the place where you're meant to use the item you didn't find. How are you gonna know where that item is? You won't. Like, so you either reinvestigate the entire town a second time or you just look up the answer. And most people are just gonna look up the answer, and this game is, I think, just an absolute, like, moth to a flame for that. It is so tempting just to look up answers. So that's a bit of a flaw too, because it's just it's so open, it makes missing stuff so punishing. And that's a shame. However, I would say if you want to play Painscreek Killings, then go ahead and do that. I would then also suggest you look up a video series. There's a video series on YouTube about this game where it basically takes like 4 different Let's Plays of this game and basically races them against each other, showing what people have what clues, where they're going to go next. This person's now got stuck. This person's now got stuck, but this person's carrying on. And it's a very fun video series that actually helps kind of understand the structure of the game and how it kind of tries to funnel people. And it's very, very entertaining. So I would recommend Painscreek Killings, and as a bonus thing, to find that video series about it on YouTube, because it's very good. I'm going to put it in Judd, but it is flawed. Like I say, it's not a flawless game. So I'm going to go ahead and put it... it's above Daemonologie. I like it more than No, I'm Not Human. I enjoyed it more than Miside. I think more than Bad End Theatre. I really like detective games, by the way, so this is a buff. It's getting the detective game buff. I'm putting it here. I'm putting it here for Painscreek Killings. Painscreek Killings goes here. Yeah, very good. No, I love detective games. And you give me a detective game, peak. You give me a detective game that's open-ended, even more peak. You give me a detective game that's open-ended and like a time loop, I'm in heaven. But this sadly isn't a time loop. But if it was, oh boy, oh boy. I mean, that's kind of why I like Outer Wilds, because Outer Wilds is kind of all those things. Kind of. So yeah, I really like that. Right, okay, so next up, we have There Is No Game. Let me find Wrong Dimension, there we go. So this is the Game Jam version of There Is No Game. There Is No Game is kind of funny because I think I would enjoy the game way more if I wasn't streaming it. Because when I'm streaming, I'm trying to constantly talk because I want to obviously be giving a reason I'm streaming it at all, because otherwise you could just watch uncommented gameplay on YouTube. So I want to be always talking. However, There Is No Game is a game that is constantly talking over itself. So trying to stream these games is an exercise in frustration because you're trying to talk and then the game is constantly talking over you and it's just constantly fighting for the ability to talk. So I feel like it's very hard for me to judge. I feel like Judd Jane is where it would live if I was playing it offline, but streaming it, it was an game. Both of them. I think the final one is better. I like the point-and-click adventure stuff. I really like the point-and-click adventure aesthetic in this one, but I feel like I should finish this offline, and I think I would enjoy it more. Because, yeah, playing it, streaming it, it's not a good environment for playing this game, is on stream. Yeah. In Stars and Time. Okay, well, let's break some hearts, shall we? Right, so let's upset a bunch of people. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to speak directly to you. I'm looking at the camera, okay? I'm looking at you, chat. I know my audience, and I know what you like. You generally like stuff like Deltarune and Undertale. You also generally like stuff like Omori and such. So, this is me speaking to you, that you would probably enjoy in Stars and Time. This game is probably made for you, because it is very much in that ilk. The characters are lovely, the art is lovely, you'll probably really enjoy yourself. So if you are that person that I think you are, you'll probably enjoy this game. And it's got like a 98% positive rating on Steam. So you should probably play it and enjoy it, and not listen to any more of this section. Now that that's been said, my preface at the start of the stream about how I like to talk about why I don't like things, and so I may rant on something, but don't get too disheartened. That's basically about this game. That was basically almost entirely me talking about this game. I went in with really high expectations for this, and I was very let down. To give the basic premise, it is kind of one of those RPGs like Omori, like Deltarune, where it's kind of like a narrative RPG where it's all like friendships and hugs and the power of friends and all that sort of stuff. However, it's also a time loop game. And like I say, I bloody love time loop games. And so I was like, okay, so I like those sort of games. I like time loop games. And it's rated 98% positive. I'm all in. I'm all in. So I sat down, very, very excited. I played the introduction, and the characters were all super likable, super great. I had a great time with it. I was like, I'm so excited to play the rest of this. And then I get to the time loop, and you can look at the Steam achievements, and you can see for yourself that like a quarter of players instantly drop off when the time loop hits, because unlike a lot of time loop games, where the joy is how open it is and how much you can explore all your options, and every run is about like finding a little thing that will help you 20 hours later, the time loop in this is just repetitive. It's just backtracking. It's just you're doing the same thing over and over again. A thing to keep in mind, chat, this game is 26 hours long. It's so goddamn long. It really should be half the length that it is, because so much of the length is inflated by forcing you to loop when you really shouldn't do. Here's an example of the way this game pads itself out. It will give you a mission to find out information about a particular character. Your explicit objective is to find out information about a particular character. So you will go through the entire game like I did. You will play through the entire game, interacting with everything to try and find information about that character. You will walk up to a newspaper article, and your character will say, "This is a newspaper about that character. I should remember this for later," but will not read it, even though your objective is to find out information about that character. They will not read the information about that character. Then you will finish the entire game, get to the point where you present all your information, and then the game will be like, "Looks like you didn't have enough information about this character. Maybe there's a newspaper clipping you could find." And it's like, yeah, there is. And you said no, now I need to play the entire game again for no goddamn reason. Like a lot of the game is like that, where it just like, it doesn't give you the ability to do something purely so they can force you to repeat content. It's very annoying. Very annoying. So, okay, so the gameplay is a bit of a disappointment. But what about the story? Because clearly, if the gameplay is a little bit of a disappointment, then the story is clearly really good, and that's why people like it. The story's very generic. The world isn't, the world building isn't, the characters are lovely, the world building is really rich and full, the story is very predictable. However, now that I've got all that out, what I will say, all those things were very annoying and very disappointing. However, the further away I've gotten from this game, the less I have remembered those things. My memory of the frustrating things has kind of faded, and my memory of the things I liked are still crystal clear. So my memories of the characters and the character interactions and the world building, I remember those like very well. And my memory of the frustrations have kind of faded away. So if I would have rated this game a week ago, I would have rated it lower. But now, my memory, I mostly remember the good things about it. So it's probably the bottom of Judd, or maybe like the mid-bottom. There are some fun things you can do in this game that are like optional. Those are really fun. Like, for example, okay, minor spoilers for like an optional thing you can do. There's a character in this game who is the smart one, right? It's the smart character. And I noticed when playing it that certain things I did would get her to give a suspicious look, and it gave like a sound cue. And so I'm like, can I like drive her insane by like acting as suspicious as possible an entire playthrough? And you can. There's like an optional ending by being as suspicious as possible so that she calls you out and is like, are you in a goddamn time loop? I like the characters in Stars and Time more than I like the characters in Deltarune. I feel like they nailed the characters. I really like the characters in Stars and Time. In Stars and Time, by the way, has a character called Bonnie. So any FNAF fans, there's a Bonnie in this game, and I think Bonnie is adorable. I really like all the characters, effectively. But yeah, it's just a mixed bag for me, sadly. Okay, next up is Homicipher. I keep saying I need to pick up the pace, and then I keep yapping my bloody arse off. But yeah, Homicipher is a language learning game, but it's in like a horror setting. This is a game that is marked on Steam as a dating sim. It is not a dating sim. However, if you're someone who is into monster men, like maybe you look at this kind of monstrous man on screen and you think, oh, like that's kind of my jam, then maybe you would like Homicipher, because in addition to learning the language, you're also befriending a cast of monster men. It's not really a dating sim, but there are routes you can get with the different monster men, but I don't think you ever smooch any of them. But it's got like some of the trappings of a dating sim. I kind of enjoyed it. It's very hands-off. Like, it's very hands-off. Like, if you're good at these language sort of games, like language deduction games, then you will probably have a fine time with this, but it's so hands-off, I can imagine someone just getting completely stuck and being unable to do anything. So, should I put it above In Stars and Time just to piss off Tremac? I'll put it below. I'll put it down here. I'll put it down here. I liked it for what I played of it, but it's not something that's got to stick with me for too long. It's down here. Good stuff. Okay, next up is Diceomancer. Diceomancer is a roguelike card game, and it is exactly like you would expect. It is well made. It is a well-made roguelike card game, but there are also 20,000 roguelike card games. So, should you play this one? I don't know, if you want to, but I really don't have much more to say about it. I enjoyed it, but it's very hard to get passionate about it, because there's a billion of these. So I'm just going to put it here. It's fine. It's good. It is Judd, but like, you know, there's so many that I'm just going to put it here and not really talk about it again. It's got nice art. That's all. The Trolley Solution now is a comedy game based around the trolley problem, the ethical dilemma. I streamed all of this, and I think it's Judd, but it's not a high Judd. It is funny. I'm probably going to put it next to Diceomancer. It's funny, but it's not something that I'm going to, like, go nuts about. I'm probably not going to suggest this to anyone out of the blue, but it is a funny enough game. It's just a little bit of silly. Yeah, it's just a little bit of silly. If you want a little bit of silly, guess what? The Trolley Solution has a little bit of silly for you. If you want something a bit more than that, not really. But yeah, if this was on sale for like cheap enough that you'd be willing to impulse buy it, you'll get a little bit of silly out of it, but that's about it. It's probably, like, sadly, it is Silly Slop. Yeah, it is Silly Slop. The most popular toy in the 90s. But yeah, it's probably, honestly, something that is best watched on stream. You probably get just as much, if not more, entertainment watching someone streaming this than playing it, which is a shame, because I streamed it all. Next up, Voices of the Void. Voices of the Void is... I'm going to put it in peak. I feel like it's still being made, so I don't really know where this is going to go. It could get ruined, but there's just something about the systematic nature of the game. It's like an immersive sim with horror elements in an open map with random events. There's just so much variety in what can happen because of your exact situation that it's just very, very fun. I'm going to put it above Poco. It's a game not really like anything else I've played before. It's also barely a horror game. It's also kind of a comedy game. It's so many genres. It's free currently because it's still in development, and it's on itch.io for free. But it will be charged, it will be paid for eventually. Okay, next up, Dispatch. Dispatch is Twilight for boys. It is a depressed man who's just apropos of nothing, hounded after by a spicy and soft woman who's incredibly attractive for no reason in the popular genre of the target demographic being superheroes rather than vampires. It's pretty good. I think it's well presented. I had a good time with it. I'm going to put it below In Stars and Time. I'm putting it here, actually. I'm putting it above this slot. Sorry, In Stars and Time. You have good points, but you've got a few too many bad. But, like, Dispatch goes below these, I think. But it's good. And if you see me calling Dispatch Twilight for boys, and your opinion is, oh man, no, don't compare it to Twilight. You've got it all backwards, son. That means that you should be giving Twilight a go. If you liked Dispatch, just try and think of Twilight as Dispatch for girls. Now you're cooking. Like I say, the art is very good. I think the characters are all super likable. Well, they're not all super likable, but enough of them are super likable, and they're often likable in a surprising way. Like, there's one character in particular who starts off the game feeling very much like the obvious, just like, here's a person that you will hate, ha 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 ha. And then at a certain point, without them really doing anything big, at a certain point, you suddenly just go, I think I like this character. It just comes out of nowhere. It also gives you a choice halfway through between two wildly different options that are perfectly split 50-50 in the user stats that I think is just massively impressive. That is just so goddamn impressive to do. So yeah, it does a lot of things right, and I really do want a season 2. I listen to the soundtrack for this all the time as well. It gives me no My Hero Academia. Well, this is kind of, I would say Dispatch is The Boys, but optimistic. The Boys is pessimistic. This is The Boys, but optimistic. The same basic concept of corporate superheroes, but with like the most sunny outside blue sky version of that possible. Which is refreshing. It's nice to see something dare to be optimistic in this day and age. And that is what Dispatch is, to me. Okay, Lies of P is Lies of Peak. I really do like Lies of P. I'm going to put it way up. I'm going to put it above Death Stranding 2. I'm going to put it next to Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Lies of P didn't come out this year, but I played it for the first time this year, and it is really good. It's really good. It's probably in my top 3 favorite Souls-likes. I think Elden Ring and Sekiro might be the top 2. I don't know which order. And then I think Lies of P is 3rd. And I know Lies of P is basically ripping off a lot of Bloodborne, but guess what? It's been a long time since Bloodborne came out, and Lies of P does a lot of it better. So I kind of think Lies of P has pipped Bloodborne to my 3rd place. I really like Lies of P. It's the gameplay is very satisfying. It's got so many good quality of life things. The weapon system is cool. The leveling up system is cool. The bosses are cool. The variety of enemies is cool. Apparently the DLC is amazing, but I annoyingly rolled my game into New Game Plus by accident, and I don't want to have to replay the entire game up until the DLC point, so I just don't get to play it, I guess. Which is a shame, because I would have really liked to play that DLC, because apparently it's awesome. Oh well. It's good. Okay, Leap Year. Leap Year is an game, I'm afraid. Leap Year is just kind of I feel bad about wordplay. I'm putting wordplay in and game. Wordplay, I'm not going to put it in Little Stinky. I feel mean to Mark Brown now. I'm putting it in and game. Leap Year is a platformer where you're collecting things. It couldn't be more standard. The gameplay mechanic of Leap Year is that if you fall from one tile, you're fine. If you fall from 2 tiles, you die horribly. So it's kind of like you need to carefully pick where you drop off or where you jump off, and there's like a bunch of stuff. If you fall from like 4 tiles, then you bounce, but if you fall from 3, then you die, and if you fall from 5, then... And it's like there's a bunch of things about how high you're falling from affects what your character does. So that's the puzzle element, but generally speaking, it's just a pretty standard platformer. It didn't leave that much of an impression on me. I'm putting it here. Next up is Look Outside. Look Outside is near the top of Jud Jame. It's probably next to Sexy Brutale. It's probably above Sexy Brutale. It's very difficult, I feel. I suspect Look Outside may be a bit punishing for a lot of players. However, I had a pretty good time with it. What I love most about Look Outside is that the game has a ton of options and a ton of things that you don't know are options. When I say options, I kind of mean more like choices, where I would finish the game and I would meet like 3 characters and do this, and I would beat the game and be like, yep, I feel like I was pretty thorough, I saw pretty much everything, and then I will look on the internet and see 20 characters I've never seen before, and I'm like, how the hell did they get those characters? And it's because Look Outside has so many hidden branching paths that you don't even know are branching paths. Often it's like the exact words you say to someone, who you attack first in a battle, like so many choices that you don't know are choices, and they can split the game in so many ways. Your gameplay will feel unique to you, and watching someone else's gameplay will feel unique to them. And that's very hard to do. And so I'm kind of amazed. Who was your final party? It was the big guy, who's the janitor, and the child. And that's it. It was me, the big guy, and the child. And that was my final party. And I didn't see anyone else. I didn't meet any other characters who could join my party. But like, that's why I say, like, I beat the game, like, I felt pretty thorough. I, like, liked those characters, and then I looked online, and I'm like, who are all these other party members? Who are all these people? There were so many characters who I never met. I also did play it at launch. So there have been new party members patched in, but even at launch, there was a lot of stuff I didn't see. Anyway, yeah, it's a good game. It's a very good game. If you like difficult games, you will like it. If you like RPGs, you will probably like it. If you just like kind of body horror, cosmic horror kind of vibes, then you might still like it anyway. But yeah, it's a very good game. Next up, Man, I Just Want to Go Home. So this is Man, I Just Want to Go Home. This is a choice-based game. You're just making dialogue choices and a branching path. The story is just you want to go home. That's it. I think you missed your tram or something and it's raining and you want to get home. That's the entire plot of the game. However, a bunch of shenanigans will occur, a bunch of things will happen that will get you roped into conspiracy and all sorts of terrible scenarios, and it's all about just trying to get home and not die. And it's very short, but very fun. I really like the art. It's also got a very funny translation. I would say that the translation, I don't know what language it was in originally. For example, there's a point where your character describes someone drinking a glass of water, and it says that they drank the glass of water pelicanly. That's the adverb they used, pelicanly. It's good. It's definitely Jud. It rises above An game because it does have the source. It might be above Kandinhale, but that's it. But yeah, I had fun with it. I think it only took me like an hour to an hour and a half to beat it and to like 100% it. So it's not a very long game, but it is good. I would recommend it if you have the time and money to invest like an hour into it. It's fun. Missing Ban Ban. Missing Ban Ban is Missing An. It is an game. It is one of the better Ban Ban games because it does have gameplay. because it's actually a 2D shooter. I thought it was fine. It's not good, but it's fine. You know, I am putting it above Bugaboo Pocket because, like I say, Bugaboo Pocket isn't really for me. So I don't really want to come back to this. I mean, I don't want to come back to Missing Banban either, but I feel like if I did, I would have a more enjoyable time for that brief period rather than Bugaboo Pocket, which feels a bit too low-key. I did kind of like Missing Banban. Then again, I generally like 2D platforms. I mean, look, you're not a bad person for liking Missing Banban. I think it's fine. I think it's completely fine. So yeah, it goes nearer the top of Endgame. I mean, look, I'm pretty sure that the developers of Missing Banban would not be offended to be next to Poppy Playtime 4, like a huge company's game. Although actually, Missing Banban traced art, right? Do you remember? I called it out on my stream. Missing Banban traced Pizza Tower art. They like literally traced it. It's not quite as bad as AI, but it ain't good, is it? To trace art. I'll knock it down a few spots for that, I reckon. But yeah, it's fine. Next up is ENA Dream BBQ. ENA Dream BBQ is a good game. I actually feel... I'm kind of annoyed at myself. I mean, as you might be able to tell if you're an In Stars and Time fan, little things can sometimes sour games for me. And ENA Dream BBQ had a true ending that I played through the entire game once, and I played through the entire game a second time, and then one room away from the true ending, it had an NPC that ruins your true ending, just like, I guess, as a joke. And if you talk to that NPC, your true ending is ruined, and you need to play it again. And it's just like, why would you do that? Because I just played the game a second time to get the true ending, and then it ruined it as a joke. And so I wasn't going to play it a third time, so I was just very, very, very salty. I was just so salty about that. So, like, I came out of that stream, like, angry. I came out of that stream annoyed. But, over time, like, the annoyance of that moment has faded, and there's a lot about that game to love. There's a lot about that game to love. So, I don't think it should go down there. I'm going to put it next to In Stars and Time. It's a lot. Is it free? Is this also free? Or is it paid? I can't actually remember, but it is good. Like, it's got beautiful art, beautiful, like, acting, and it's very well put together. It's free? Come on, man. I couldn't rate it any lower than at least mid-Jud Jane. I feel sad that my experience was ruined by that moment. Like, I felt very upset about that. But it is good. It is good. Apparently I'm at 59 out of 82. Goodness gracious me. Oh. Okay, No Case Should Remain Unsolved. No Case Should Remain Unsolved is a mystery game that I played over the new year, like literally as it was striking New Year. It is a mystery game where you are given a set of like transcripts of interviews about a girl who went missing, and you do not know who said the transcripts, you do not know what order the transcripts come in, and those pieces of information being unknown makes things very confusing. And over the course of the game, you piece the transcripts together like a jigsaw puzzle, and slowly a picture starts to form about what actually happened during this event. It's a very interesting way to structure a mystery game. So it definitely goes in good. It's not that high up in Jud though, because it's pretty short. And once you've solved the mystery, that's kind of it. It's pretty short, but it's pretty good. It's above Diceomancer. I probably liked it about as much as I liked Daemonologie, to be honest. I think it lives about here. So yeah, this is where No Case Should Remain Unsolved goes. If you do like a good mystery game, this is short, and it's got a pretty unique gameplay system, so I would suggest giving this one a go. A lot of games in good games. I was actually worrying about the opposite. I was worrying that there's a lot of stuff in an game. I kind of don't like putting things in an game, because it kind of feels like it's a cop-out, like I'm not even giving an opinion, I'm just saying eh. And so I was kind of worried that there was quite a lot of stuff here, but you're right. Jud Jame is definitely more stacked than an game. And it's a shame that there's so many in AI. But that's not my choice, that's their choice. Anyway, Final Fantasy Tactics. Final Fantasy Tactics is a good game. I like tactical games. Turn-based tactical games is like one of my favorite genres. And Final Fantasy Tactics is that. I heard a lot of people saying that the story was good and that the game was very grindy. And it is my pleasure to tell you at home, chat, that both of those things are true. The story is good, and the voice acting in the remake is also very good. However, the game is grindy, and it's kind of too grindy. I thought I would be able to handle the grind, and actually I feel like to keep up with the difficulty of the game, it expects you to grind a little bit too much. This could have easily been a peak if it was different in some ways. I don't know. I haven't analyzed it deep enough to know how I would change it, but it isn't at its full potential placement. It's probably in the middle of Jame. It's probably it's better than Cloverpit. It's better than Painscreek. Is it? I think it's below Painscreek, but above Cloverpit. That's where it lives for me. Okay, we're in the home stretch nearly. When we're on the final line, we'll be in the home stretch. Okay, so let's pick it up. Order 13 is a jobs, but it's a horror game genre that I constantly talk about, but haven't come up with a very cool name for it yet. I would say that Voices of the Void is kind of in that genre as well. In this game, you work in like an Amazon fulfillment warehouse, you have a pet cat, and you're stalked around by melting Jeff Bezos as you try and fulfill orders without getting killed. It is actually surprisingly fun. I had a surprising amount of fun playing this. It looked like it could have been slop. It looked like it could have been job slop, but it actually somehow transcended that and was actually pretty enjoyable. I liked the moment-to-moment decision-making of like whether I go out to grab another order, and the cat was cute. So it's actually pretty good. I think I would recommend it over Trolley Solution, but Diceomancer feels a bit more substantial. So I think this is a good spot for that. Pretty good. It's job slop. It's job slop. Is there any other job slop? I mean, Voices of the Void is job slop. Is there any other job slop here? Next up is Free Ride. Okay, here's a peek behind the curtain, chat. Free Ride is a game I got a key for, and I played it for like half an hour, and I was like, I should stream this. It's hard to describe, but it's got a very nice art style, and the most important thing is it was super buggy. You could like clip out of bounds everywhere. And so I was like, oh man, this would be a really good stream. Then I never got round to it. You could like jump, and you could jump pretty high, and you could jump on basically any object, and then you could jump out of basically any map. And jumping out of the maps lets you sequence break, and it was just very, very busted in a very fun way. And I just never got round to it, so that half an hour is all I played of it. I still haven't played any more than that, but it is pretty compelling. Also, like it said there, it keeps calling itself a personality test. Like in all of the marketing, it calls itself a personality test. I do not know how it is a personality test. I haven't got that far. I would say all signs lean promising. I don't think I've played enough of it to give it a fair judgment, so I will just put it at the bottom of Jame. A little bit above Kandinhale. I would say potentially we play this. I'm curious. I'm optimistic. Okay, next up, Rue Valley. Rue Valley is, I think... Okay, so Rue Valley actually goes beyond giving me a key. The Rue Valley developers sent me a pre-release version like 6 months before the game came out, and they asked for feedback. So I recorded them a video playing the game and telling them the parts of the game that I didn't think were good or conveyed information wrong. And one of the big things was that playing it on a controller feels absolutely terrible. The controls feel awful on a controller, and that's how I played it. So I gave them all of this feedback in a video format, and I got an email back saying the team is, super excited to watch the video and get the feedback. And then the final game came out, and literally nothing I mentioned was fixed, apart from one typo that was fixed. Everything else wasn't fixed. So the game came out, and it still had all those same faults, and then it got like mediocre reviews on Steam. And it's like, yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm guessing that they literally had parts of the game completely unbuilt, and so they literally had no time for quality of life. And so by the time the game came out, they literally only had time to finish it and nothing else. Because otherwise, they just listened to nothing I said. Which is a shame. Okay, next up. Oh wait, I put it at the bottom of An Game. It's better than that. It's better than that. I still do think, even with its flaws, it's pretty good. It's probably about here. Yeah, it's probably about here. It does have mixed reviews. The biggest problem with Rue Valley is that it really wants to pretend it's Disco Elysium. And Disco Elysium is one of the best written games ever. And this game isn't. And so them trying to pretend that they're Disco Elysium so hard is really the biggest mistake they ever made. Because if they would have tried to distance themselves, maybe people would treat it more on its own merits. But this game is no Disco Elysium, but it really wants to pretend it is. And so yeah, like that was their big downfall. That was a big downfall. I think otherwise it could have been a little bit more appreciated. A lot of those negative reviews are people saying, this is nowhere near as good as Disco Elysium. Which is true. Which is true. Okay, next up, we have Promise Mascot Agency. Promise Mascot Agency is a very much brain-off kind of game. You run a mascot agency, which is full of all sorts of colorful characters. It's basically a business simulator, but with an open world that you can drive around in and just do like collectibles. It's very brain-off. You're just like driving through signs, and there's like 500 signs, and you're just kind of like bumbling around, doing bits and bobs, talking to characters. The voice acting is pretty funny. The game's translation is pretty funny. But I didn't finish it, and I don't think I'm ever going to finish it because the game is maybe just a bit too long. I actually don't know if I'm near the end of the game, but judging by what the game is presenting to me, I'm nowhere near the end of the game, and I just do not have the motivation to continue. But it is definitely not a bad game. It is good. I just really don't think I could stomach the entire thing. I think I don't have enough time on this earth to justify that. That makes it sound like I'm about to die. I don't think I am. But just in case I am, let's not play any more of Mascot Promise Agency. I'm going to put it there below my side. Nice. Okay, Too Many Nights. Too Many Nights is going way high up in Judd Jame. I'm going to put it next to Part of You. I'm going to put it below Dispatch, but Too Many Nights goes way up here. Too Many Nights is like one of my favorite Five Nights at Freddy's games. I did not expect it to be that high. I did not expect to like it that much, but I played it and I really, really enjoyed it. I found it very, very fun. I found that it was basically what Ultimate Custom Night could have been. If Ultimate Custom Night was structured like Too Many Nights instead, then I would have liked Ultimate Custom Night way more. Because yeah, I really like Too Many Nights. The simple art is kind of like a benefit because it makes it very clear what animatronics are in any screen, because they're very, very, very clear. The one downside of Too Many Nights is that because all of the animatronics in Too Many Nights are people's OCs, they all have very specific pronouns that the game tells you, and when I'm playing FNAF, I have one brain cell left for anything other than playing FNAF, and so in that stream I was constantly calling characters the wrong pronouns, and people were not happy about that on the YouTube VOD. Which makes me feel a little bit sad, because I feel like I was enjoying the game. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, I really like Too Many Nights. It's great. It's a good game. Good game. Definitely deserves its placement up here. Mario Kart World. It's a big one. This is a game that I think I actually am more positive than the general consensus, I think. So I played 2 sessions of this. The first session I played of this, I was like, this kind of sucks. It's kind of just Mario Kart 8, but with worse tracks. So my opinion was basically just going to be, it's worse Mario Kart 8. And so that was going to be my opinion about Mario Kart World. However, I then played a second session, and I think the issue with Mario Kart World isn't even any of the content. I think the issue is framing and how it presents and how it gives you options to enjoy the content. I kind of understand what they were doing with the intermission tracks. The music for the intermission tracks are like way more peaceful, they're, you know, way less demanding on you, and I feel like they're meant to be just an intermission. Like they're meant to be, you have a high stakes race, and then a casual Sunday drive, and then a high stakes race. And it's just like a little breather. And once you treat the intermission courses like just a time to kick back and relax, don't think about it too much, just kind of enjoy and drive around, they're genuinely pretty fun. The issue is that when you get to the track after the intermission, they let you do like one lap and then it's over. If they let you do a full 3 laps, then maybe it would feel like it's an intermission rather than a replacement. It's literally just because the intermission tracks feel like they're replacing the tracks that they feel bad. It's only because of that. The intermissions themselves are perfectly fine. Yeah, it's just kind of like, I wish they would give me the option. Give me a box to tick to let me play 3 laps of the track when I get there. And I think that's the issue, is that Mario Kart is a high-paced, exciting racing game, traditionally. However, this game has a lot of vibes, a lot of relaxing gameplay, and I don't think they properly separated the relaxing gameplay from the fast-paced gameplay in a good enough way, so I think people just see the gameplay as being a step down, whereas I think it's more like they just increased the variety, and then they smushed them together in a way that kind of looks bad. So yeah, I kind of wish they would have presented everything in a way that would have made it more clear that you don't need to do the relaxing gameplay. What the heck is going on with the music? There's people yelling in Japanese. Let's go to a different playlist. So yeah, I just wish they had framed and separated the content a bit better. Like Tremak was saying, they changed online so you just couldn't play regular 3-lap tracks. It's stuff like that. It's them not giving you the options. And that's the problem. If they gave you all the options, like say, no intermission tracks, all intermission tracks, let me do a race across the entire map, doing 3 laps here, then moving on or something, like, if they gave you a ton of options like that, no one would care. But they just don't give you the options. And that's why I think people don't rate it. But I have seen the light, I see the vision, and I actually do enjoy the intermission tracks now. I like it quite a bit. Just get like a nice warm blanket on you, get like a hot drink, like a hot cocoa, and just play a few games of Mario Kart World, not expecting it all to be high-paced or fast-paced, expecting some of it to be a bit more chill, and you'll have a great time. And I think that's the point. I don't think there's a problem with the content. I think it's a problem with the options and how the options are given to the player. I haven't played Crossworlds, but I have played Racing Transformed, which we will get onto later. So you Sonic fans, you do get some time in the sun here. Ban Ban Zero is an game. I even called the VOD Ban Ban Zero is an game. So where else could I put it but an game? It is next to Ban. Let's just put it next to Missing Ban Ban. I really don't have much more to say about it. It is the most An game of An games. I guess the baby Ban Bans looked kind of cute. That's all I got to say about this one. My Friendly Neighborhood. I'm actually going to try and pick up the pace because I may die before the tier list ends. My Friendly Neighborhood is very good. It is not a mascot horror. It is a survival horror in disguise. And I like survival horror. I'm going to put it below Mario Kart World. I preferred Too Many Nights because I really like that gameplay. I like My Friendly Neighborhood quite a lot. It's a lot of fun. And the silly cheats that you can unlock are also a very nice addition by the developer of like big head mode and like extreme ragdoll mode and all that sort of stuff. I'm glad that I was able to play this by doing my softlock sprint video. I feel like I managed to find an excuse to play this because of that video, and I'm very glad I did. Okay. Next up is No Players Online. Who is your favorite Sonic character? I am not privy to Sonic characters, I'm afraid. I'm not really in the know. Hatsune Miku? I like Hatsune Miku. And if you're saying she's not a Sonic character, you didn't play the right version of Sonic Unleashed. Okay, so no players online. You see, no one is arguing. Everyone's like, yep, that works. Oh my god. That mod, 1 minute. Let's take a tangent to the Hatsune Miku dimension. So there is a mod for Sonic Unleashed where it replaces the sidekick with Hatsune Miku. And it's really good.
Thanks for asking, Mr. Monster Guy.
Mr. Monster Guy? I'm Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog. And you are?
Well, what is my name? I don't know. I can't remember.
You forgot who you are?
Yep. I remember something falling from the sky. And everything just going all quiet.
It's the most high-effort mod ever made. It's so good. The entire game accounts for Hatsune Miku being your character rather than the character who's normally there. There's like custom animations and custom art assets and everything. Like there's this point where she dies as like a joke, and it's got like a completely unique model for the joke.
If he got kidnapped that long ago, he's got very hungry by now. And if I wasn't hungry, I don't know how long I would last. I'd dread my bed.
So stupid. In my head, Sonic, Hatsune Miku is a character in Sonic. Like there's no denying it, it's just 100%. Let me find you the funniest cutscene ever, 1 second.
My job was to protect the planet from dark carrier.
Spoilers for Sonic Unleashed.
But Eggman, I didn't remember what
Oh, maybe it's here. Sorry. New desktop background unlocked. It's peak, I fear. God, I was wondering why there was such a big spike here. Is it because of this shot? That's so funny. Oh my god.
My real name is Hatsune Miku. Paula from the day in white.
My real name is Hatsune Miku. So yeah, they actually, because it only needs to be said by her, they actually have the script changed so it says Miku instead of the actual character's name. So canonically, Hatsune Miku got amnesia and ended up in Sonic Unleashed. It's so funny. So there you go, all the Sonic fans who are feeling left out by the Mario Kart World conversation, there's your Sonic content. Back onto the topic at hand though, no players online. So no players online is conceptually this. It is a online game where there are no players online and you're being haunted by some sort of spirit and it's all very scary. Now, they apparently released a demo for it, which was that. And then they released a full game on Steam. And that is the game I've played, the full game on Steam. Now, I played the full game on Steam, knowing nothing about it, and it was okay. It was pretty good. However, I didn't know the full backstory, and that being that the demo was a horror game. The demo was the concept I've just told you about. The main game isn't that. The main game isn't that at all. It's like not a horror game at all. It's not even remotely. Like there's some horrifying events, but it's really barely a scary game. And so I know there are a lot of people who, when this game came out, they were kind of like, what the hell? You like made a game with a cool concept, released a demo that was that concept, and then released the full game and it wasn't that concept. So yeah, it's very weird that they did that. I'm putting it low, Judd Jame. Like, not knowing any of the backstory, I enjoyed it a fair bit, but I'm perplexed upon learning the history, why they did that. Anyway, next up is Safe Room. Safe Room is a puzzle game. It's basically the inventory management from old Resident Evil games, where you're like arranging items in your inventory to fit into a suitcase. Save Room is that. It's just that. It gives you a bunch of items, it gives you a suitcase, and you need to fit those items in the suitcase like Tetris. So that is the entire game. It's pretty good. I think it is an game, but it is the most /pos possible usage of an game. It is the sort of thing that would be on a mobile phone and you would play it while you're waiting for a doctor's appointment. It just does the job of killing time. And yep, it's fine. It's an game. It's gonna go below Strange Jigsaws. It's fine. It's fine. Next up is Peak. Peak is Peak is in Peak, obviously. Peak is very, very good. Peak is the best of the friend slop genre. I would say that the thing that promotes friend slop out of being slop is if you can play it without friends and it's still fun. I feel like Lethal Company, solo, is not even that fun. I feel like something like Repo solo is probably not very fun. Something like Content Warning solo is miserable. Peak solo is also very fun. Like, Peak solo is exactly as fun as multiplayer Peak, just in a different way. There's loads to do. I love the achievements. Every achievement unlocks a cosmetic. The achievements also go on your sash. There's different difficulty modes to do. Like, it reloads every single day. The community can find like a good route up each mountain every day so that you can check online and see what people are doing. It's just so good. I would probably put it where it is. I feel like Deltarune will come back year by year and we'll always get chapters up in here. I think that Peak is a once in like a decade lightning in a bottle, so it should go above Deltarune. Honestly, it goes above Death Stranding as well. Yeah. Okay, next up is He Is Coming. Okay, remember what we were talking about with no players online? He Is Coming is advertised across all of its Steam pages as a single-player roguelike. However, all of the content updates for like the last year, I feel, have been adding in a multiplayer mode, and they're not delivering the goddamn game that is on the Steam page. And so, like, I kind of enjoyed it a bit, but I feel like it needs more content. And then there's been so much time going by, and every time there's a big update, I'm like, oh, amazing, there's going to be new content for the game. And then I check the patch notes, and it's all multiplayer stuff. I do enjoy it, but it needs more content. I'm going to put it here. Yeah, it's above Save Room and Strange Jigsaws. Yeah, it's a shame. Time Splitters 2! I played this on the PlayStation 2, and I replayed it recently because it got ported to the PlayStation 5. Time Splitters 2 still has the source. It's a Jud Jame. It is a high Jud Jame. I'm going to put it here. Time Splitters 2 is a classic for a reason. It's very, very fun. Each level of this takes place in a different time period. It's also playable co-op, and the missions are fun. The objectives are constantly updating. The music is a vibe. The art holds up surprisingly well. It's good. It's really, really good. If you can get this on PS5 with the rewinding features and save states and all that, do it. Do it. Is this game trying to kill me? Is Amanda the Adventurer but better? It has more unique ideas than Amanda the Adventurer has. This has some humor. It has some, like, puzzles. It has some other stuff. It's very good. I feel like this game should have a better logo, other than just the name of the game typed out in like a horror font, but it's pretty good. I think I prefer it to Painscreek and probably Ball Pit, but not above anything on the top row. I do really like this game. So Viewfinder was the game that won the marble. By the way, if you're wondering, the second marble has finally been changed. We now know what the second video game marble is going to be, the second game that I'm going to play. You'll be pleased to know that Jack has changed the second game marble to be Bloons. Bloons Tower Defense. So I'm going to be playing Bloons on stream. That is what I'm going to be doing. I already own it, so we're playing Bloons. I've never played Bloons before. Let's hope that that turns out well, because Viewfinder, which was the first one to be redeemed, was a Jud Jame. I really liked Viewfinder. I think there's two types of puzzle games. There's puzzle games that are based around like codes, and puzzle games that are based around mechanics. Puzzle games that are based around codes are usually, are you thinking what I'm thinking? You've just got to find the correct piece of paper to tell you the answer. That sort of thing. Puzzle games that are based around mechanics, like Portal, like Viewfinder, are way more interesting to me, because it's more about rethinking how you interact with the world in a more fundamental way. And so Viewfinder was very, very fun for me. I really enjoyed it. And also it let me prove that I am not a tiny-brained baby. Just because I can't beat Amanda the Adventurer 2 doesn't mean I'm a small-brained baby. Viewfinder's a good puzzle game. Actually, I think it's in exactly the right spot. You mean that Myst isn't your favorite game of all time? Part of your game, I've yet to play Myst, but I do own the re-release, so I might actually be playing Myst this year. Maybe not on stream, but I will be playing Myst for the first time. Also Riven. I own Riven as well, so I'm excited for that. I'm gonna hate Myst so much. Uh-oh. Anyway, it's the moment you've all been waiting for, chat. It's Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. It might be... You know what? It's better than Blueprints and Silent Hill F. It's really good. I really like Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. I've been playing it on and off. I've been playing a lot of it on my Steam Deck, actually. It works really well on the Steam Deck. I know it's an old game, but it's the first time I played it this year. This year was the first time I played it. It's really, really good. It's one of my favorite kart races that I've played, probably. It's a lot of fun. And I do think that, like, being honest to my heart of hearts, I've probably had more, like, when I'm playing this, I'm having more fun than playing these two, like, moment to moment. These two are more special. This is just very good at what it does, but you know what? That's good enough to be at the top of Judgame, in my opinion. Formless Star. So Formless Star is the game that I played when I couldn't download Silksong. This was my, like, holding game while the Silksong saga was playing out and I couldn't download it. Formless Star is also free, I think. It's a good game, especially for free. This has the sauce. It has a lot of personality. The art is cute. One of the artists is an artist who works on Deltarune, so there's a lot of, like, art style crossover that is very satisfying. Wow, the music is going absolutely ham. I'm gonna put it here. Next to No, I'm Not a Human. Yeah, that's pretty high up the tier list, Formless Star. Good job. I really do like Formless Star. It's very, very good. The art is cute, the music is cute, it's procedurally generated in a good way. Yeah, I liked it. Good Jame, or Jud Jame, should I say. Next up, Garden of Banban 8. Sorry. Silksong is its peak. But where is it in peak? I've got a feeling like Game of the Year is going to be between these three. It's going to be between Lies of P, Laser Eyes, and Silksong. These three are all very, very good. I really like 1000X Resist, but I feel like these are in a different league to me. So yeah, it's probably between these three. But yeah, Silksong is up here at the top of peak. For sure. I've played like 60 hours of Silksong on stream. If you really want to know my opinions on Silksong, you can check the VOD. There's a ton of VODs for you there. I do not need to talk about Silksong that much. I've thoroughly covered it. Okay, Banban 8 is also at... you know what? I think Banban 8 and Poppy 4 are roughly similar. Obviously, the polish is better on Poppy 4, but I feel like they're kind of more similar than they are dissimilar. Even look at the mouths. Look at the mouths on these two. Yeah, I also made a full video about Banban, so I don't need to cover this that much more, but yeah, it's about there, I reckon. Talking of mascot horror of Mask Slop, we have Case Animatronics, the Google translated FNAF game. It was very funny, especially in the translations and the voice acting, with a guy doing a voice like this. Oh my god, the animatronics, they're in the building. I heard a lot of people on the VODs saying that the voices didn't used to sound like that. They used to sound more normal, and then they got someone else to do the voices, and the voice is all like this. and the Vine Boom hallway, that's all very, very funny, but it can never be called Jame. You know what? I actually think it's Little Stinky. I think it's Little Stinky, but affectionate. It's Little Stinky affectionate. Finally, we have Five Nights at Freddy, Secret of the Mimic. Secret of the Mimic is called a Poppy Playtime clone. It's called not a FNAF game. It's called a bunch of things. But the only thing I want to call it is Jud. It's pretty Jud. I think it's solid. I prefer playing My Friendly Neighborhood, though. I also think that Is This Game Trying to Kill Me has more interesting gameplay ideas. I think it lives about here. I think it's a Jud Jame. I think that it's better than a lot of things, but I think when we start getting up here, like, I prefer Too Many Nights to Mimic, purely because the gameplay is just more fun. Mimic has... I like the art direction of Secret of the Mimic, and I like other parts of Secret of the Mimic, but the moment-to-moment gameplay is just more fun in something like Too Many Nights, in something like My Friendly Neighborhood. I just prefer those. Yeah, the issue with In Stars and Time is the more things I add, the more it gets pushed down the list, but honestly, I can't really move it that much higher. Okay, I can move it that much higher. I can put it above Cloverpit and Starvaders. I've moved it 2 spots higher. I hope you're happy. Oh my god, that's everything! It's all done! Wow, okay, well, I guess then, all we've got left to do is decide the game of the year and the stink of the year. We're doing stink of the year first. So now stink of the year will only be pulling from Little Stinky or AI. And honestly, none of the Little Stinky games are stinky enough to go lower than AI, I think. So it's probably, we're picking from the AI games. Out of Hands has some artistic merit. There is some artistic stuff in Out of Hands. It's just a shame that the other half is AI. Among Ashes has some decent gameplay, but also there's a lot of stuff in Among Ashes that makes me feel bad. Like, Among Ashes made me uncomfortable in more ways than just the AI. That was one factor. Queen of Moths is the only one that I think doesn't say it has AI in it. I think Queen of Moths is the only one that doesn't declare the AI. FACEMINER is just pretty bad to play, though. Here's the thing, chat. The FACEMINER dev sent me a key. I feel so bad putting it in Stink of the Year just because I didn't enjoy it. Like, I didn't enjoy the gameplay. I feel like, you know what? I'm doing Queen of Moths because Queen of Moths isn't that good and it doesn't declare the AI. It might not have AI in it. I don't know for sure. It might not have AI in it, but the dev saying there's no AI in it and then refusing to give his actual process and just saying it looks like AI, but it's a different process that I will not reveal to you. Queen of Moths goes as Stink of the Year for the gall of lying about it and hiding it. By the way, the developer, feel free to defend yourself. If you see this in at any point, if you see the VOD somehow, feel free to defend yourself and say why it's not AI, because like I say, I don't know for sure. I don't know, man. I'm putting it down here in Stink. Okay, next up, Peak. Expedition 33 with the steel chair. Oh my god! Just I haven't even played it and it wins Game of the Year on my tier list. Oh my god. Okay. This is genuinely tough. I was like, Lies here. Okay, so let me break down my thought process, okay? Lies of P is one of the best Souls-likes I've ever played. I enjoyed like every second I played it. I love the art direction. I just really enjoyed the game. It was like a 9 out of 10 experience for every single second. Silksong is like a 10 out of 10 experience sometimes, and also miserable sometimes. There's a lot of choices made in Silksong that are made from Hollow Knight, and even when they were made in Hollow Knight, they were kind of archaic and annoying. And a lot of those carried forward into Silksong. And so there's a bit of stink in Silksong. However, I do have a theory that for a game to be truly exceptional, it needs to have stinky parts, because you need to have something that the community will bond over. There needs to be some stinkiness where everyone can join arms and say, that was BS. I hated that. Like, there needs to be some of that where everyone can bond for a game to be truly exceptional. So I feel like the fact that Silksong is a little bit stinky doesn't mean it can't be Game of the Year. And Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, you saw me bouncing around and being so excited about the final puzzle of that game and about how it made me super excited in a way that puzzle games haven't really made me feel. So that is very, very valuable to me. You know what? I was about to say, if I did this, I would be happy with that. If I did that, I would be happy with that. And if I did that, I would be happy with that. So let's just leave it up to the public then. Run a poll. Because they're all my Game of the Year, and I don't want to give it to 3 games. So because it's a tiebreaker, you can be the tiebreaker, chat. You can decide. Silksong ist definitely purchase experience puff the year. Shonmo, are you okay? Do you need to go to sleep? It is quite late. Skong has won Game of the Year. I think I'm happy with that. And then Laser Eyes actually came in second, I think because of how much I was gush slop about the ending of that game. And Lies of P is in third. Amazing. I think it's because of how much I yapped about it. I think I talked people around. But yeah, there we go. What a tier list. Game of the Year, Skong, Peak, Lorelei, Lies of P, Thousand X Resist, Peak, Death Stranding 2, both Deltarunes, Umineko When They Cry, Voices of the Void, and Poco. And Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. And then Judd James are here. And Ann Games are here. Then Stinky, we've got Case and Hello Neighbor and Hellkinn and A Better World. And AI and Stink we have down here. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. And I will see you next year for more fun games in 2026. Let's see if I can beat 82 games this year. I really doubt it. Last year it was 56. I don't think I'm going to get above 82.
Hello there, Backseat from the Edit here. Well done for making it through an entire stream, or maybe even an entire playlist. If you weren't using these videos to fall asleep and are still awake, I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and here's some options if you want to watch some more. Bye-bye.